Mik'd Up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J. Mitch. We got Jackie Boy.
He tried to jump up and he might have knocked it in.
Good time. Let's go. What a start to the Monday.
Liar!
I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys would come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there.
Helmet.
He's punching me in the stomach, like, steady punching me.
Here, and as everyone's sitting around, who here thinks Ochinko can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's been with the team
6 minutes.
for 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Ochinko can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. I fucking saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
Be on the Spirit plane had some issues. I think she was sleep farting.
You heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her. I smelled.
Whoa. What was that?
How to start the show. Why would I have that?
You had the circus or something.
6'3", I'm waiting. Like, I don't even know what I'd be doing.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle?
My dad tell you about it?
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? And it's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they're
all fatter than I am.
Players, look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
I mean, you're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. Hello. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Today's Wednesday, February 22nd. Mardi Gras is over. Hopefully everybody is recovered or recovering and got back to the real world today. It was a tough one. I think I did nothing for Mardi Gras and it was still a struggle for me. This weather, I think, has been keeping everybody a little down. It hasn't been rainy, but it almost looks like it's gonna rain. Never rains. Super windy if you like to go play golf. It's been very tough conditions. The Baylor men's golf team saw that. Oh, I mean, the guy was getting peppered by sand particles. The guy had to
he would just
cover up.
He just went full fetal position.
Yeah, he was getting hammered by saying that's not good. I feel bad. LSU played Southern day game on Mardi Gras yesterday. They beat them 18-4. 10-1 rule was in effect. Trey Morgan hit the cycle, first cycle since 2010.
Who did that one?
Yeah, that happened.
Who did that one?
Brought you by Assured Partners.
Who did that one? I don't know. Y'all have to tell me who did that one. I don't remember who did that one. It was a long time ago.
It was you.
It was me.
Congratulations.
Twas I.
All records are meant to be broken.
It wasn't a record. It's just a feat. I think it was a feat. You know, there's been a multiple. Somebody posted the cycles in history, like the most recent cycles, and it goes back to like the late 80s. Boy, 87, 88, 89, those 3 years in a row, someone had a cycle. And then it started cycles became a little bit more rare. Trey is the only one, I think, in LSU history to have it in order, which means he hit a single, double, triple homer for the cycle. 4 for 5. Good for him. That's very hard to do. Doesn't matter who you're playing against, you have to do it. Not many people get to do it. LSU Baseball got off to a little rough start. Thatcher Hurd struggled a little bit to start the game. It was his first start as an LSU Tiger. It was his first start. He missed most of last year with an injury. And so it's going to take him some time. I wouldn't get too worried about it. We're going to get into that. Midweek games are tricky, right? Everybody complains about LSU's midweek records over the course of the years. It happens. It's just part of college baseball. Somebody's going to upset somebody. There's been 3 SEC teams this past weekend that are highly ranked that got upset. Texas A&M lost to the Fighting Will Davises of Lamar, who is Bill Davis, one of my really good friends.
Yeah.
Obviously, Nolan Kane is the recruiting coordinator at Texas A&M. They are best friends, right? And so they go out to A&M and beat them in a midweek game. Vanderbilt lost to Central Arkansas in a midweek game.
Do the man a favor.
Who's that?
That I would imagine, like, yeah, you can come over, like Lamar can come and play, and then you.
That's it.
Dope. That's not what I thought was gonna happen,
That's
but I was
part
just
of it.
giving you a game.
And that's part of it. That happens, right? You lose to Vanderbilt. Mississippi State lost to UL Monroe. So some of these midweek games gets a little tricky. Obviously, LSU got off to a tough start. I think they were down 4-0, and then quickly
They put up 18 unanswered.
quickly got it right. And
I think it was 4 straight innings of crooked numbers, I think.
Yeah, I know.
There was 3 5-run innings.
So
for
they're
sure.
up 4-0, and then bottom of the third, LSU was up 5-4, and after that it was over. Right?
Yeah.
Jared Jones went off the top of the scoreboard.
Look, Coach, let me just tell you something. I'm gonna be honest with you. He hit that ball at almost 40 degrees. I think it's more in the tank too. Like I don't think he got it.
He got underneath it.
Yeah, that's my
No doubt.
point. Like
No doubt.
there's more distance in there.
He got more
Yeah.
trajectory can be better for it to carry more. No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
And the wind was pushing out to the left, center a little bit, but nothing crazy.
No, right.
Nothing crazy like
It
that.
was like springtime weather usually,
Yeah.
right? A little breezy. Balls are going to carry if you get it. No doubt. LSU football back in the news for a couple of reasons. One, Brian Kelly, much to the pleasure, I think, of everybody that's watched LSU football. So, this is special teams at LSU was so bad last year that whenever this came out saying that Brian Kelly has moved Brian Polian off of the special teams, moving from special teams coordinator to a special position that he created for him as a GM, which everybody I think has talked about that, saying that's probably the best way. There's friends, you don't want to mess that relationship up. He enjoys recruiting, you go do that. But the special teams was so bad that once this came out, my wife shared it with me on Instagram and said, "Thank God." That's when that's happening. It's not good.
It's unanimous.
Yeah, it's not good. I mean, she got literally quoted. She said, "Thank God." I'm like, well, I mean, that's how you know it wasn't good. So that was the move. The other LSU news not as enjoyable to hear. Malik Nabers got arrested on Monday for gun possession. Those
Allegedly.
What didn't alleged? That happened. But then those charges are going to be dropped. So it looks like Malik Nabers will be fine. He obviously didn't commit a crime. If he was carrying an unlawful weapon, it would be a little bit more of a situation. So I don't know the details of everything that happened. All I know is it looks like the charges are going to be dropped and Malik Nabers is going to be fine. Kendall Rogers, the expert of college baseball, is coming on the show at 7 o'clock via video call. We're going to talk to him everything SEC, everything NCAA, give his thoughts on LSU and D1 Baseball. He's the managing editor of D1 Baseball. They are putting on the games this weekend at Round Rock. So I have already signed up for the team here. Yes?
So we'll be able to watch.
Yeah, if we can share passwords. I don't know how that works.
I don't think they're going to be that plugged into it.
So,
this feels like a new foray into how to do college baseball, right? Like, this seems new to me.
Well, I think it's going to be special tournaments. Like, they're going to be different things, right? So LSU plays Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all-day games in Round Rock. D1 Baseball will be covering it. D1 Baseball has it televised or streaming. We are going to be part of it. Kendall Rogers is going to come on the show. We're going to talk to him everything baseball because not only is LSU playing really well and LSU got off to a hot start and they're super hyped up, but college baseball as a whole I feel like is hyped up and the SEC in particular is more hyped up. I mean, they had, I think, 7 out of 10 with preseason top 10 and I think they had, 10 teams ranked in the top 25 or something crazy like that. So we're going to get his thoughts. Huh? It just means more. It just means more. That's what they say. Early betting odds have come out for football on 2 of the games for LSU. We're running through the Heineken headlines right here. This is the last
super early
headline
betting
of
odds.
the Heineken headlines. Super early. All right. Trivia. Have you read through it yet? Have you seen the odds?
Not to that part of it.
Okay.
No.
Because he did this to me off air, and I wasn't that far off, but I wasn't that close either. The first one I wasn't that close.
What kind of
Florida
statement?
State.
But say, what kind of statement was that?
Well,
that's one way to admit that you were wrong.
Yeah. I was closer to Alabama line than I was to Florida State.
Wait, that's the only 2 lines they have right now?
They do like a feature every year where they'll put out what they
couple.
feel are like premier games, and so they drop today.
Okay.
All right, Florida State. This game is in Orlando.
Right.
What is the line?
I'm going to say the line is set at 3 and a hook.
Who's favorite?
I'm going to say Florida State's favorite in this one.
So you're close to me. I took 4 and a hook for Florida State. It was 3. It's 1 and a hook. Florida State is favored by 1.5 in Orlando as of now.
1 and a hook, huh?
Yeah. What about Alabama? Game's at Alabama.
At Alabama. I'm going to go favored with Alabama, and I'm going to go at 6 and a hook.
That was basically what I said.
Uh-huh. Both
It's
very
7.5.
close. 7.5.
Alabama.
Yeah. LSU.
So that's why you need
Alabama.
So they're on the underdog tour again next year, huh?
I think that one right there is the one that you hammer. I hammer it right now because I don't think that it's going to
get down to 6.5.
You would imagine, you would hope that it's going to get down. I think it's going to get down less than that, actually.
Yeah, I think so.
I think if they beat Florida State first game of the season, that line's going to drop to like.
Well, the body of work that they put together before, I think it's going to get closer to that too. May even swing the other way, depending on how that.
But that's a long ways away.
Oh, way away.
You know, that's the. That's the football conversation.
Lloyd's over here trying to put it in right now.
I actually am.
No, he already told me. He said he's going to do it. He's going to do that right now.
I just know that people are going to see that 7 and a hook, and they're going to be like, "Ooh, I can get it just over a touchdown." That's when you start.
Just under 100.
Just under 100. I'm surprised the numbers aren't more inflated after they saw Jane Daniels throwing that ball.
I mean, it's amazing, huh?
Yeah, it feels like they probably moved the line a little bit.
Closer. I know. Maybe they would have been 10 points.
Yeah, we shouldn't have leaked the video.
Yeah, it's your fault.
That'd be our fault.
It's your fault. Jay, you were at the game on Tuesday.
Yeah.
All right, Thatcher Hurd makes his LSU debut.
I actually showed up after he was like literally the pitching change was happening as I was.
Well, it was quick. It was a quick outing.
It wasn't that quick, but it was quick outing.
Right.
I was a little late, a little tardy.
I was watching some of the game. I missed that first part of it. I went back and watched a little bit of it. But what did you see from the team? Obviously, it's a midweek game. It's the middle of the day. It's a little hard to kind of make that determination on it's a hard game to read. They won 18-4. They did what they needed to do. Did you see anything? Cruz got hit 3 times.
Yeah. 2 things that really stuck out to me. One, Christian Little in whatever role they're gonna throw him in and keep throwing him in is going to be a problem if he stays healthy.
Cutters.
He was able that cutter. He throws a lot. He loves it. It's good. He was able to really nullify stuff in those middle innings once he came in. I think they may have only had maybe a couple hits off of him after. And he didn't give up any runs. Obviously, the 2 runs he gave up were Thatcher's runs. But after that, wasn't much else that happened. So I think he's going to be another big part for him. And the next thing that I really noticed, and this kind of happened throughout the game, and you can sit here and say, oh, well, it's who they faced.
Christian Little threw 3 2/3.
Yeah.
Struck out 6.
Right.
He only gave up 1 hit.
The one hit was the 2 runs that was Thatcher's runs. So there you go. So he didn't give up any runs. He didn't give up any hits after the second hitter he faced. So the other thing that I really noticed too, that I was like, now look, when you face Tennessee's Friday night guy, who knows what'll happen? When you face another shutdown arm, who knows what'll happen? But what I saw was they got behind in a lot of counts on missed pitches early, whether to take a strike or whatever the case may be, and somehow battled back to keep winning these at-bats over and over and over again. Gavin had a great middle inning at-bat where he was down 0-2, fouled off a bunch of pitches, ended up walking, and they did this time and time and time again. And I was watching, I'm like, man, this lineup's a problem because not only are they supremely talented, they're pesky, man. They're not just giving away outs right now, and that's pretty cool to see, right? And I think that is a trait that kind of sticks with you throughout of the year. That's not something where it's just oh, they're hot right now, because they weren't just hot. Right. They were just pesky as hell. And it turned into them making mistakes on the other side and turning into runs. I'm
glad you said that because that's something that no matter what happens during the season offensively, you can be in a slump. You can, be hitting balls hard, just having a lot of, bad luck. When you have that type of plate discipline and when you have that type of ability to grind out at bats and work walks and make pitchers work and make pitchers throw a bunch of pitches in every at bat that they face you with, that allows you to be productive and allows you to have the opportunity to come up with a big hit, and it keeps you in games, and it doesn't allow the prolonged slumps because you are getting on base, you are doing these types of things, and when you do that, you don't struggle, right? You may look like you're struggling, and you may not be hitting the balls as hard as you want, or in the gaps, or hitting homers, or doing all these types of things. But if you continue to do that, be able to grind and be able to work at bats and get walks, I think that allows the offense to stay hot, as you would say, all year, right? And I think that's a hard thing to do, right? And I think that's a credit to Jay and how he's coached these guys up, and it's a credit to these guys for being able to take what they are doing and what Jay's telling them and be able to actually do it on the field.
No, 100%. And that's why I said, like, I'm sure, dude, it's baseball. It's a long season. Every season's long. Like, you're going to run into a night somewhere where maybe they have 10-plus Ks. Who knows? I don't know, right? But what I'm telling you, what you could see yesterday was they had at-bats where it could have easily been just very, like, feeble at-bats, very weak contact after they're down late in a count, and they just kept battling and just kept being very, very, very hard outs, literally up and down the lineup. Then when they – it literally looked like they made a line change.
Right.
And those guys came in and did the exact same thing. So that is a great sign for a baseball team moving forward.
Obviously, Trey Morgan was the guy, right? He had 8 RBIs, 4 for 5 with the cycle. And, he didn't get a hit the previous weekend, right? And, like, people make a big deal sometimes. I guess people who don't really understand I don't want to say understand. That's the wrong way to say it, but people don't realize, like,
been in that
hey, it's
spot.
3 games, right? Like, they've played 56 of those things in the regular season. Like, 3 games, 12 at-bats, or however many at-bats it was, 10 at-bats throughout those course of those 3 games. It's really nothing.
Yep.
Right? You go out there and, he was hitting 0. His average was 0.
Point.
0.000. There was 0
all across the
other
board.
numbers other than 0, right? Only zeros. Then he goes out and he goes 4 for 5 with the cycle in the midweek game, and now he's hitting 308, right? So it only takes.
OBP is through the roof, though.
What's that?
His OBP is through the roof.
Yeah.
Because he didn't draw like 3 walks.
Well, that's the thing. So I'm now that I'm thinking 308. So being the baseball guy that I am, numbers are a thing. So he was probably 0 for 9. 0 for 9 or 0 for 8 last weekend. And then he goes 4 for 5. So now he's 4 for 13. I think that's 308. 4 for 12 is 333. 4 for 13, I think, is 308.
That's a lot better than seeing zeros on the scoreboard when you
No
look
doubt.
up there.
No doubt.
I mean,
Well,
you've talked about that before whenever, and I don't know, I don't think it's the same in the beginning of the year as it is when maybe you started off a little bit hotter, then you start seeing it dwindle, and you're like, I was hitting 308, now it's 302, now I'm under 300.
I don't think that. I think it's worse the other way.
Yeah, it's definitely worse the other way.
I think it's worse when you start slow and you're hitting like 085.
Oh.
075.
Yeah, that's tough to look
120.
up and see. Yeah.
125. And then you feeling like you're starting to play better. Like, okay, now I'm at 175. Damn, okay, now I'm at 200. Shit, and it's a grind. And then once you get to like that 250 mark, you're like, all right, now like at least I have a reasonable looking batting average.
I think anybody would tell you they would much rather a fast start than a slow start.
No doubt.
There isn't even a question about
No doubt.
The only reason I phrased it that way is because Mikey said he's notoriously, like, whenever he played was like a slow starter.
I'm a slow starter too, and I was the same way. And let me tell you, it is so much more of a mental grind from the start, just making sure like, all right, I got to lock in that much more right now. Like, it's a thing, man.
Imagine being 0 for 8 to start the season, right? That's great. Imagine being 0 for 23 to start the season. So you're at 23 at bats in, you're looking at your
I did a 2 for
average,
40 one time. That was fun.
Says 0.
Yeah, 050, baby.
I was 0 for 23. I had
Keep
0.
putting you in that line.
I was like, boy,
that's tough.
I don't know how you draw this one. This is tough to do right now.
That's tough.
And that's what makes it funny to like somebody like me or like a common fan that sees that like 2 for 40. That's when you get the guy on the couch that's like eating chips, like I could do that.
But
it's like,
and the thing about it is, it was funny too. Is it's 2 for 40 is awful. I can sit here and tell you that there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But then when you sit there and you think in the grand scheme of it, it's like, all right, well, if you're playing pretty much every day, and we're talking about a whole month, in a whole month, you're probably going to get about 100 at bats, maybe a little bit less if you walk a lot, blah, 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 blah. So 2 for 40 is realistically probably just over 2 weeks.
Right.
Like that's really what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
And look, 2 weeks of doing that is long, but in the grand scheme of a full professional season, it's absolutely nothing.
Right.
But the crazy part is on the flip side of it too, this is what numbers will do. I've seen dudes go 2 weeks, 250 at bats into a season, and it literally made their season as hot as they were in those 2 weeks. So it could do both, man. And it's getting off to a fast start is something you really, really, really want as a hitter.
And in college,
in baseball, period.
Yeah, in baseball, but in college it's a little different because you're not going to get.
Well, because you got 250 on the season.
Maybe.
Yeah.
If you get all the way to the end.
That's what I'm saying. You got 250 on the season.
In 2011, we played 56 games. We didn't make the postseason. I had 196 at bats. That's what
Hitting
I had.
what, 3 every day, right?
Hitting 3 hole every day.
Exactly.
Right? So 196 at bats. That's not counting walks. So plate appearances.
But he's not a huge walk guy anyway, too.
That year I had a lot.
You walked a lot, but it's not. But walking a lot and like literally like getting walked and like walking a lot is a little different in the sense of like, I don't know, what'd you have on that year? 30,
walks?
40?
No, I think I had like 50 or 60 walks
50?
that year.
So you had a ton that year.
That year. Well, I mean, I was.
Yeah.
There's one series against Auburn where this was 2011. We had a young team.
Yeah.
There was one series against Auburn where I went 0 for 1 with 9 walks.
That's a good series.
They just weren't pitching.
I went
to you.
0 for 0 with 4 walks. Yeah, weren't pitching to me in the game. Like that's just kind of how it was. But that's that season. But like that year was my most walks. So I probably had 250 plate appearances that year.
Crazy.
In 56 games.
You know what? It's so crazy to me because like I walked a lot in college.
You did.
You obviously walked a lot that year. And just think of even if you were as hot as they ever came,
Probably
and you
50
are
walks, actually.
the best hitter ever. If you're in pro ball, pretty much nowhere do you have a real chance to go 0 for 1 with 9 walks. Because the misses end up being, if they're trying to walk you, the misses
Unless
end up
you're Barry
being
Bonds.
that much smaller. Except and those
When they're
misses,
intentionally walking.
but those misses weren't there. They were just like, hey, bro, go.
Yeah,
like,
just
get out of here.
Get on the base. Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's just it's a crazy like that whole the dynamic, the mental dynamic of starting off hot, right? And on the flip side, as a freshman, and you're getting starts from day one, right? There's 3 freshmen in the lineup on the first day of the season, right? And I don't think a lot of people thought that was going to be the case based off of the guys that were coming back. To have those guys in the lineup and be able to get off to the start that Jared Jones got off to, get off to the start that Brady Neal's gotten off to, right? Those guys, like being able to do that. Remember when Hanover started as your junior year, my freshman year? Mm-hmm. And Hanover was the first freshman to play early on.
Yep.
And he hit a home run off of Paxton, I think it was, against Kentucky. And, like, it was this whole deal. And, like, he got off hot and he kind of rode that wave, right? Yeah. It's important as a freshman to be able to get there when you get in the lineup and be able to do it well. Now, I'm not saying that if you don't, it's the end-all, be-all. But as a freshman, understanding, hey, I'll belong here. Now, the competition ramps up a lot this weekend.
And before we even get to that, I want to remind everyone they've basically done what they've done so far, and it's a very small sample size, right? And it hasn't been against the top-notch competition like we're speaking about that they're kind of about to ramp up to get closer to. But they're doing this all literally with only 1 inning and 1 at bat from Tommy White.
Right.
That's impressive.
Great at bat.
Tells you a lot.
Right.
Great at bat. Great showing so far.
I hope, he's hit 1,000 with an RBI.
I wish he would just hit a double.
I hope, yeah. Or just a homer, just jog.
Just a homer, jog around.
I hope that he's back this weekend because I think that this weekend will be nice. At least I hope he's back for at least next Tuesday.
Right.
Against Texas when they play in Texas.
Next Tuesday.
What's that?
You'll see him next Tuesday, you think?
I don't know. I think you could see him on Friday. I really do. I think that his injury is kind of a weird thing, right? It's a day-to-day thing. It's a pain tolerance thing. And it's like, hey, how effective are you going to be able to go? Like, listen, they're going to have some probably contraption on his shoulder to keep it more stable, kind of how you had the fake hamstring. I know they did the same. They literally had this exact same injury last year with Cade Doty.
Yeah.
So they're prepared for it. They understand it. Cade was a little bit more intense.
Yeah.
And Cade was back playing in 2 weeks, I think it was. And I think if Tommy, he's had this before. He knows how to deal with it. So I think that he'll be back. Hopefully on Friday. I don't want to guarantee it, but if he's back, I doubt that. And you said it. If he's a little sore, they're going to hold him up. I think Friday is a possibility. I think definitely by Tuesday.
I literally think it's day to day. Like, so Friday, is possibility. I think but I do think it's one of those things where at this point in the year, how they're playing, which is pretty well, but because it's so early in the year, if he can't go out there and throw other guys have stepped up and played well in these spots to where it's like there is no need to force him out there if he's still hurting.
Right.
Give him a chance to get as close to 100% as possible, and then you can go out there and play. You don't want that on the back of his mind all year. You know what I mean? Like let him try to get healthy, and then he can go out there and
If he was still at North Carolina State, you would probably see him on Friday if he was
Maybe.
there, because like we need.
I don't think it'd be much different.
I don't think so either.
No, I'm just saying the reason I said it like that is because LSU has so much depth. It's like you really don't have to rush
Well,
it back.
I'll say, and I don't really know what they have there this year, but because he DH'd so much there last year, if he was still in that same role, then maybe he might actually be playing again. But being that he's going to play the field and it is his throwing arm, I'd like to see him get as close to.
And that's the other question is if he can't throw but he can hit, do you put him as the DH?
No.
And do you put Jared Jones somewhere
It's a great
else,
question.
right? Like
maybe.
that's the question.
And I think they kind of tried to toy around with seeing how they would be able to do that. Like at the end of the game, Trey went to left field. I don't know who. I think Cade maybe played first. I don't remember who it was. Somebody else came and played first. They kind of moved some. Paxton was playing second base. So I think they are trying to find out who can play where.
Which
who
I
can
love.
move where.
Because if you watch the professional game right now,
it's a lot of that.
That is what's going on.
Yeah,
right? There's a lot of guys that can play. You know, the Chris Taylors and even the Cody Bellingers, even though he's a left-hander, like first base, center field, all the outfield positions.
I know you're 100% right, but I'm just telling you, like, and people are, obviously we heard it. We didn't hear it until really late, but the presence and the way the kid is swinging the bat and the bats that he has.
Can't take him out the lineup.
It's very hard for you to not be able to find a spot for Jared Jones in the lineup right now.
Right.
And if
he's
that
hitting in
means
the middle of the lineup.
And if that means he has to go into the field somewhere, that may very well happen at some point.
And you'd imagine that he's a catcher. Came in as a catcher, which is
that's a big target. That's a huge target. That's like an old school.
Catcher.
That's an old school.
That's Matt
right
Wieters style target right there,
Buster
right?
Posey.
Matt Wieters, yeah. Well, how big was
Buster? Wasn't physically.
Matt
imposing.
Wieters was 6'6".
Yeah.
That's a big dude back there, right? That's Maurer.
Maurer
was a very big dude. But you'd imagine that really the only position outside of catcher that he can play is first.
Maybe he might be.
And
he might be able to play a little bit of left field. He got young knees right now.
You're right.
So he might have some left field in him,
But again, this is a good issue to have.
Yeah.
How are we going to get all these guys into the lineup, right?
It's so weird, dude. Like I know, man. It's a really, really, really kind of intimidating feeling when you have a guy that has that kind of size, and whether he's hitting homers or not, he's not just a homer or nothing guy, like a boomer bust guy. It's a really intimidating
he's a
feeling.
barrel guy.
Because my point, even if he's not, is like when you have the Dylans and maybe the Treys and maybe the Joe Bears and all these guys that can hit in front of him, and then all of a sudden this dude is coming up and you're like, well, it ain't just gonna be homer or swing through it. Like it's intimidating, dude. Like it's a very, very, very like uneasy feeling being on the other side of that because he might bust this game wide open right now. Literally wide open right now. And and you don't know how. It's very hard to pitch to guys like that. It really, really, really is.
So, I mean, look, there's 4 games. They've started the season 4-0. Great, right? If you look through the lineup and you just look through what people are doing, right? You have Gavin Dugas, Jared Jones hitting 600 on the year, right? 6 for 10 to start the season. Only 10 at bats. I don't want to jump the gun and say anything, but again, that's a good way to start. He has 6 RBIs,
and like I said,
before
you finish, like I said, when you watch him, and I'm not saying he's not boomer bust just because it's 6 for 10. Like you watch the guy, there isn't many huge swing and misses. There isn't many you seen him super fooled up there. Like he puts together good at bats. That plays. He is going to go through a struggling stretch, but that plays.
No doubt. And look, I mean, you have the 3 guys who have the most at bats. I mean, so Pearson's got 8 now. He's 1 for 8. I mean, that none of this stuff matters to me. The reason I'm talking about this is because these young guys, a.k.a. Jared Jones, getting off to that type of start. Gavin Dugas, I think, is another one. He's not young. He's an older guy. But the re-emergence of Gavin Dugas, I think, plays into this team I think that helps this lineup out immensely, right? Because obviously Tommy White's out. When Tommy White comes back, now you're gonna have to keep Gavin Dugas 7 for 10. Like you're gonna have. He's 7 hits, and 3 of the 7 hits are for extra base hits, right? And so you've got to figure out 0 strikeouts, 2 walks, and 1 hit by pitch. So, like, he is getting on base almost every time he's getting up to the plate, right? And so you're going to have to find a way to keep this guy in the lineup, which is a good thing, right? Which is what you wanted to see. You want someone to take control of that second base position and feel like he has done that. Even with Tommy White back, he'll be there. Now, how good are they going to be defensively? I think that Gavin, depending on the game, he may be one of those guys. He plays until about the 7th or 8th, and then boom, he's out. And one of the other guys in who plays, I mean, maybe not. And maybe Gavin gets better and better. But to start the season the way him and Jared Jones have, I think is a huge thing for this team. And I think it's going to be very beneficial.
And that's the only, I guess, if there's a silver lining to Tanks being out, you got to see all of those guys. You got to see how deep LSU was, because I don't know how many opportunities Dugas gets if Tommy White's able to stay healthy.
Right.
And that's what brings me to, I guess, my next point. What do you do with him with have you ever seen that injury before or played with somebody that's had like a right shoulder separation where it doesn't affect the baseball swing, I wouldn't imagine too much.
No, so
but,
I mean
throwing would be shitty.
Throwing, it depends, like, because they popped it back in, right? So like the fact that they got it back in relatively quickly, I think that it's just going to be sore. Once you get the soreness out, they're going to keep it stable, and he's going to be able to throw. Now, hitting, that lead arm is usually the one. If you dislocate that lead arm when you hit,
especially if you're a one-arm follow-through.
right? Like, so for him, who finishes like that, you know what I mean? Like, if he dislocated his left arm, I think that would hurt the swing more. I've subluxed my left shoulder before, right, where it comes in and out real quick. Mm-hmm. No, not to that extent, and I didn't have to miss any time because it was real quick. But like,
you know the feeling.
That's where when you extend, like that's where I think what hurt is hitting. I don't think the backside's going to hurt because you're not going to ever get really out of your body when you're swinging, right, from the backside. But the throwing is going to be an issue. Hopefully not. Hopefully he recovers well enough and it's strong enough to where the throwing is not going to be an issue. But listen, they're not going to put this kid back in the game until he's ready. Yeah. They're not going to force him in there early, no matter who they're playing early.
Over under head first slides, not counting diving back to a bag.
He won't do it again.
Yeah, I think he's
but
out.
But you have to.
I think you may see him with. You may see him with a lead
back
this
to the
big.
Bag, yeah, but
that's what I'm saying. Like he might start going feet first back.
No, this will be his lead. He'll go step first to the bag.
Yeah, he ain't going anywhere. And if he's
strong secondary.
if he's gonna slide, if he's gonna dive head first, you go left arm.
Yeah,
and that's gonna be awkward, but
he can't. Yeah, because he can't. He probably will be hesitant to dive for balls at third too.
Nah, I think he'll be fine.
It's gonna be
because look, when you separate your shoulder,
he'll be fine.
That's part of the problem.
No. The reason why I'm saying he'll be fine defensively
is
is because you are leading with the glove more so when you're trying to make which is the left side.
True.
Yeah, I'm just saying once it comes out once, because I've separated my shoulder, and once it comes out once and then it comes out again, that thing has no problem popping in and out. Like it'll sublex, it'll just leak out.
You're not wrong about that.
No, you're just like fuck you, and you know exactly what it is when it happened. It felt like Tommy was like, this pain is like this feels very familiar, and so it's just something that can get into your head a little bit. Like if you're playing in the field.
Yeah, the thing about it is though, if I'm being completely honest, like if this team plays to their potential and they do what they can and what they should, I don't mean this to minimize him on that in that aspect at all, but I don't think you're looking for Gold Glove caliber defense from that player if this team does what they should.
Just make the plays you need to make.
Make the plays you should. Be the presence you're supposed to be offensively. I'm not looking for you to be the best base runner, right? Be a good one. We can't turn into just station to station. Be a good one, but he's going to start having to make more smart decisions. That's kind of the game of baseball, too. Baseball's weird, man. It's one of those things where you do it so much as you have to show up, right? So part of showing up is understanding, well, this is not perfect. Maybe this isn't perfect, but I'm in the lineup today. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to get it done. And I think that's something he's learning kind of early on, obviously.
I hope he talked to Cal Ripken about it.
Maybe.
The Iron Man.
That man stayed in the lineup for quite a while.
Yes, he did.
They even got a game canceled so he could stay in the lineup.
Allegedly. So they say.
I've never heard this.
Never heard the story?
You never heard that story before?
What happened?
So allegedly a famous actor had some funny business going on with Cal's
ex-wife.
Well, I guess
they're divorced.
They're divorced? So Cal's wife at the time, and apparently he found out and went back to the house and
had to take care of business.
Yep. did what he needed to do. His hand was sore,
And somehow
the light malfunctioned, and they didn't have
at
any
Camden
lights.
Yards, and that game got postponed. Allegedly. That's what they say.
Allegedly, all alleged.
That's what they say.
That's the story.
Imagine having that much pool.
That's
Well,
the
this
story.
was, I mean, I won't say smack dab. It was probably 75% through the game streak was a strong thing
And this
at
could
this
be
point.
this
Yeah.
could be,
So
this
we
could
weren't
be a
gonna
myth.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a strong.
This
thing
could
at
be
that
a
point.
big tall tale, but
It could be.
That's
That's
the story.
I've heard it. It's pretty tall because I've heard it a lot from
Yeah,
a lot of
I've
voices.
never heard that. That's not
you never heard that? That's the
good for
story.
Cal. I mean,
the story.
I want to mention this too, though. Back to I guess LSU real quick is when I talked about they literally had like a damn line change, and the second group of guys comes in there, and what we have been hearing lately is Gavin Guidry, because they're so deep, may go straight to the mound. Well, he comes in, has an at bat, gets down to 2 strikes, battle to left field. I'm like, God, that's a good at bat from a kid. Where if they're thinking about taking the bat out of his hand and just putting him on the mound, you're like, I think you could get some more at bats.
And he had a great play defensively.
And then right after that, first ball when
He's
he gets
an athlete.
in is a backhanded dive, makes the play, throws over.
And
so it's like, God, they are
He
deep.
seems like he's a gamer guy.
He's a gamer, man.
like you
could
put him
tell.
in there, he's gonna figure out a way
Yeah.
to make sure
He's a baseball player. He's a
Yep.
gamer.
Yep.
So like stuff like that, and you're like, man, if they got this just sitting on the bench, it's hard to just say,
No
nah,
doubt.
we'll take the bat from you and you
and
go
0
pitch.
errors in 4 games.
Yep.
Not one error.
Just
I
one
think
out
that's
the
a huge
chute.
thing.
yeah.
to
Especially,
do.
I mean, that was all we talked about last year. If there were any negatives about LSU baseball, it was
There's a couple.
there were a couple, but obviously the offense was so strong, and then you would see what they were doing defensively, and it got to the point where what are they doing at practice? Like, you got to be able to start. You can't win games that way, or at least when you get to Omaha, the teams that are in Omaha, you see their fielding percentages are always like in 990s.
That thing got to be in a huge mental bug for that group
doubt.
last year.
No doubt.
100%.
No doubt. And that sometimes it's hard to overcome that.
Especially with pitchers.
Yeah, right. And so, obviously getting off to that start and kind of like that's not a narrative. They don't really have a narrative yet on, what they need to improve on. I'm sure something's going to happen throughout the course of the year that they're going to say, okay, they need to do better at this. But the beauty of college baseball and the beauty of like the midweek games, it gives you a game. It gives you an opportunity to work on something that you didn't like what you did over the course of the weekend, and usually on a team that's not as good as the teams that you're playing over the weekends, right? Especially when you get to the SEC play, these midweek guys are good, right? Like some of these in-state teams, like they're not bad, but you're not going to face Dollinger on Friday, and you're not going to face
Right.
these guys throwing 100 and do all these types of things. So some of the stuff that you want to get better and work on, you can actually do it live
Right.
in the game. That's the difference between pro ball.
And another thing we keep going and building on this, but another thing I thought's been pretty cool to see from this club so far is that outside of Thatcher, who, as we kind of talked about before, like he came from UCLA. That's a good baseball conference. He threw very well there in the time that he was healthy there. So it's not in my mind as this could be a struggle guy. I actually even early on said he could be a very very big sleeper as to who may have the best numbers on the team at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. But through 4, you've seen their pitching staff fill it up. They're not walking a ton of people. It's not long at bats. Like they are challenging guys. They're throwing strikes and they're getting guys on and off the field. And I think that has a lot to do with what you've seen from them offensively so far.
I agree.
And I think he was almost a victim of the pitching success over the weekend, to where everybody else shoved, and so it just
The expectations
Yeah,
were-
exactly.
I mean, he might have played it up too much in himself, thinking
Right.
like I got to go, and instead of just being himself. I fully expect that guy to be able to come back into his own and pitch the way that they expect him and that he knows how to pitch.
Yep. This weekend's going to be tough for them, though. Like this, I say tough. This weekend's going to be, these next 4 games are going to be the biggest challenge that they've had so far. Obviously, they've only played 4 games, but they play Kansas State at 2:00 on Friday, right? Kansas State's solid. They're Big 12. They are a team that is good. Like they're not Western Michigan.
Right.
They play Iowa, and apparently Iowa's got a guy on Saturday, one of the pitchers that throws 100, right? I'm sure it's this big country corn-fed dude who just throws absolute
Don't
cheese.
stereotype him.
I mean,
He may be slim.
What's his name?
I don't know.
If you were a
I'm
bet,
sure you
give him
could
a
go. I'm
Google.
sure you could go and look at it and see the lineup and see the pitching rotation.
if you were a betting guy, over or under 215 pounds.
If I'm a betting guy,
Yeah.
over. That's what I
Over
mean.
under 6'2".
Over.
I'm saying he's about
defi-
6'6", 250.
I'm definitely going over on the 6'2".
6'6", 230.
Yeah, this is the guy that coach said throws 110.
Yeah, he's like, apparently they have a guy that throws like 110 miles an hour, jokingly. And they play Sam Houston. Sam Houston's always solid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this is going to be a test. This is the next step, which is good. You know, I'm glad that they're playing teams like this. And then they have Texas. And that's going to be the biggest game that they have on Tuesday.
To date,
Right?
Yeah.
They're going to play them on Tuesday at Texas. Texas,
which I'm sure it's going to look like. It looks like if that thing, I don't really know what his pitch count was, but it looks like you're probably going to see Thatcher again at Texas.
That's my next conversation piece, right? Is you would imagine that's what they're going to do, right? They're going to pitch Thatcher on Tuesday, and he's going to be the midweek guy as of now. Now, things can change if, maybe the games get out of hand over the weekend. LSU kind of takes care of business, and they don't have to throw Ty Floyd or Christian Little or one of those two guys over the weekend. Maybe those guys end up pitching on Tuesday. I don't know if that's going to be the case, and maybe Thatcher's just on a shorter leash. I don't know. But to have the option of having multiple guys who probably should be in the weekend rotation start on that Tuesday game is going to be a big thing. Now, Texas is coming off a sweep. They lost 3 games to SEC teams. They didn't. No,
Right.
it was one of these little tournament things. They lost. They're 0-3 against the SEC. So obviously Texas is ready. Like, they are not in a good space. Like, they want to make a statement. So they're obviously going to be throwing and doing things that they need to do to win this game. And so it's going to be a good test.
Let me ask you this question.
Please ask.
In your perfect world of what to do with that pitching staff, where are you? Obviously not with them because it's their decision. Where would you be throwing Ty Floyd?
I mean, I like Ty in the rotation
Why is that?
because I think that he's got outside of, I guess Christian Little's cutter has been nasty, right? But outside of the fastball slider combination I saw from Skenes, I think he has the most elite pitch, like the most plus pitch on our staff right now, and that's the fastball that he's got, right? And obviously he can't just continue to throw that fastball and get by just with it, but if you have that type of success and that type of fastball, I think it makes the other pitches better, and they said the other ones look good, right? And so, I would like that. You know what? As I'm talking and I'm thinking about this, I like him as the closer.
So I was gonna say,
I like him as the closer.
Here's the thing.
As I'm talking through this, I like him as a closer until he shows me that he has command of all three.
Okay, and here's the thing. So for me, I like him as that closer / like wild card area for these reasons. If you compare him to Skenes, I feel like Skenes' fastball and the way he throws it and the way it plays is more of a all 4 corner, all quadrants of the zone fastball.
Side note about Skenes. Saw a quote. Somebody compared Skenes' slider. This is stupid. Somebody compared Skenes' slider to what pitcher in the big leagues?
Scherzer.
Corey Kluber. When
boy.
Corey Kluber had his nasty slider.
Ooh,
If that's the slider he's
if that's the
throwing
slider
with
he's
100,
throwing, that's
boy,
tough.
you might as well just chalk it up as number 1 overall pick right now.
Yeah, that's tough.
Sorry, go ahead.
So I think his fastball plays more to a all quadrants, especially 4 corners fastball. I think Ty Floyd's fastball plays to that upper half of the strike zone, that high ride, real fastball like that. And so for me, as competition gets tougher, I see it as of if there just happens to be one day where he doesn't have it and he's not finding it and or it's getting hit for whatever the reason and or it's not getting the call at the top of the zone for whatever reason and he doesn't have this one or doesn't really feel good about that one, I think he is more of a if one's not working, you can pin him down to a 2-pitch guy. Mm-hmm. And like I said, so for me, that being in a rotation in a time where he doesn't have it may really spin the bullpen, which you don't really want to do.
Right.
So I like him in that wild card, come in as a stopper in the 5th if you have to, throw for 3, be the closer, be the 9 inning guy. I like him in that because I think one time through the lineup, maybe 2 times through the lineup is good for him.
Yeah.
Like I think that plays to his stuff. And it's not to say his stuff is any lesser. I just think it plays to his stuff more so. Now, if he really developed a third.
This is what I want to see. I would love, and they've talked about his changeup becoming an actual weapon for him and like actually throwing it.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see him master that pitch, and so he can get this.
Oh yeah, well that's my point.
Yeah,
now, if he started getting that third pitch where it was I can land this pitch whenever I want, however I want, kind of like you can with the other, then we're talking about something different. Then,
then you throw out the belt.
Yeah, then you can put him
don't
in
get
there.
that, and
Yeah,
now you got
100%.
above the zone, below the
It's
zone.
just to me like this. It's just really hard to be. It's really hard to be a starter when you have 2 dominant pitches.
Yeah.
Especially when the one dominant pitch is really a one plane type of or a rise type of fastball. If it was this and he could run it and he could do it on both sides, all right, that
Where
might
do
be
you
a little
see
different.
Christian Little?
Right in front of him.
Same situation.
Right in front of Ty Floyd,
Yeah.
probably, and that's kind of how they've used him so far.
Right.
At the beginning of the year, I was like, I don't know if he's healthy, if he's going to have a chance to get into the rotation or whatever, because he was a starter at Vanderbilt, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to be a thing for him, if they're going to use him that way or not, but they seem to be through
Boy,
4.
can you imagine with Grant Taylor, if Grant Taylor was still healthy, like how many arms they have doing the same stuff?
Man,
it's crazy.
Yeah. So like I don't know. I see him. I see basically Christian getting kind of pushed back to right in front of Ty, and that end up being the back end of your bullpen right now.
Do you think that with that injury, is that why they moved Coop to Saturday? Because I don't know I guess the better question is, do you see him being like a weekend guy all year?
Coop is going to be their dog.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you.
So I don't think
that's what I thought.
why.
Yeah, I just thought his role last year suited him so well because
It did, but I think
he's earned. But
I
Jay
think
said he earned the spot.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
exactly. He's earned the spot, but I think, like I said, like we talked about, like Jay literally has him as his ace in his pocket, and as long as Coop says he's ready to go, I think Coop has the mentality that says, "Give me the ball whenever that is,
Right.
whatever you're asking me to do." And I think they have that relationship to where they trust each other, that he's going to put him out there in a situation to be successful, and Coop's going to give you what he's got, and Jay trusts what he puts him in there for.
And I think he's gonna continue to keep him there until he sees something where it's like maybe he's like, well, our
Thatcher.
lefties out the pen. We have other guys throwing really well, and we don't really have any lefties out the pen
they do.
to match up.
You got 2 of them
I
right
know.
now. It's
Well, if
crazy.
these guys aren't pitching
Yeah.
because they're young,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
I
if
agree.
I'm not saying that's gonna happen because I don't think that he would have put Riley Cooper in the rotation. One, obviously, if he didn't earn it, but 2, if he didn't trust the lefties that he already has in the pen. These young guys, if he didn't think that they're ready enough.
Like, I'm not used to. I'm really not, and I forget the kid's name the lefty who threw out of the pen Tuesday, but like, I'm just so not used to seeing I go to the game on
Gardner?
Saturday. They throw the
Rosenbach.
Ackenhausen guy. Me and Mikey thought he looked really good especially for a young kid, right? I didn't see anyone else. I go to the game Tuesday. Somehow another lefty comes out of the pen, and it's already a blowout game. And I'm like, all right, well, let's see who this young kid is getting working. He's sitting like 2 to 3, I think, that day. And I'm like, whoa, where is this coming from right now? So, like, they have some serious arms on that staff, and it's crazy to watch it. It's crazy to watch it.
It's gonna be fun to see how like the roles kind of develop.
Yeah.
But
It's only so many outs you
great,
can get.
And it's a great problem to have.
It is.
I mean, because
That's
at
what you
some
want.
point in the course of the year, you're gonna need these guys. You're gonna need some of that depth.
Yep.
Right now you don't need it. At some point you're going to, right? When you start pitching, you have a couple midweek games in a row. You have 5 games in 7 days. You get to the postseason, you lose a game maybe, you get upset, something happens. Like, you're going to need some of these guys to be able to step up and do it, and I think that they have the horses and the arms to do that. So,
How'd Southern look? Any takeaway for them?
They didn't make any errors.
Oh.
They played better than I thought. I think they're gonna have to find some extra arms.
I mean, that's
Or
always
they're
an
gonna,
issue.
it's an issue. I mean, that's always an issue. It wasn't even like the
Some
guys
of the smaller schools, that's the biggest
Yeah,
thing.
it's just
having enough guys to be able to throw.
exactly. That's gonna throw consistently to like challenge the zone. But once again, you played against a team that's pretty superior right now.
Right.
Who knows what that looks like in their conference? I think they're better than they've been the past couple years, though. They look pretty good.
Do you think there were more people at the LSU basketball game tonight or at yesterday's LSU baseball
Yesterday's
game?
LSU baseball game. I'd probably say it was
Is
like
the
10.
basketball game going on right
LSU's up 39-32.
Hey, there
Watch
we go.
out. Watch
Get off the
out.
schneid. Maybe they win this one, they win the next 4, and somehow sneak into the SEC. I mean, the SEC tournament, not the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I think that they would have to wait.
Well, they got to win
by
that thing out.
long
They got
ago.
to get that out of large.
SEC tournament. I think if they win, I mean, I don't think they're going to win all 4, but you never know. Maybe you get that one, you finally break through. Maybe you win the other 3, and you end the season on a 4-game winning streak, and now you are like the 12th rated team in the SEC, and you get to get into the tournament.
Get to play Alabama, who's having their own trouble.
Having their issues, which is wild.
Not the place you want to be right now.
You think Nate Oates is in trouble?
I mean, he's an accomplice.
I mean, Nate Oates is an accomplice.
If he said he knew about it,
Yeah, but everybody knew about it, is what he said, I think. I think that's what he meant. Like, he knew about the situation because of what happened with the police and everything. Like, everybody knew.
oh, he didn't know before.
Right.
This
I don't-
wasn't a Gilbert
I
Arenas
don't-
in the locker room.
Yeah,
scenario.
I don't think that's the case.
Look what I brought to school today.
I mean, he put his,
I don't
he
think
put his
I don't
foot in
think it
his
worked
mouth
like
a little
that.
bit.
I won that free throw competition.
God.
But, like, I mean, does that... I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know how that works. But, like, providing the weapon...
You know how sticky it gets.
That's what I mean.
It's a very sticky situation right
Like,
there.
providing the weapon...
Speaking of troubles.
I don't know. Yeah. Speaking of weapons, fists.
Video
Oh, I
came
thought
out.
you were going to go Malik.
No, well,
Oh, I mean, but
we
Malik-
talked about that already. We
talked
talked about the
that.
video footage that came out.
There's
That
really
doesn't
nothing
look
to
good.
talk- like Malik, I think. I mean, Malik's obviously they're dropping the charges. He didn't have he wasn't an unregistered gun. Like, I think that.
I like how he got punished like a high school punishment. They're like, if you just let us keep it, you'll be.
Well, I mean,
you'll
he's
be
in New
fine.
Orleans, coach.
Yeah.
He was probably like, I gotta be careful out here. I gotta protect myself.
I totally understand. He's like, you're not gonna get in trouble. Just tell me the truth, and that never works.
You might see Malik just staying at the crib a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've met Malik. I've heard a lot of people that talk. Like, Malik's a great kid.
Yeah, I
right.
don't-
Like,
yeah.
I don't think that he had any malicious intent of doing anything.
Just protect myself.
And so obviously he
Firmly
wasn't,
think he had it as protection.
yeah, and he wasn't doing anything illegal. If he was doing something
Right.
illegal, they wouldn't drop the charges for no reason, right? You'd imagine,
Especially not that quick.
right? Not that quick, right? And so,
Cop was really eyeballing him.
but apparently they were doing that. I mean, I'm sure they were trying to keep the streets safe. You know what I mean?
Didn't work, but
Yeah, scared them
No, it
streets.
did not work. Did not work. It's hard to keep those streets. Now the rumor is LaToya the Destroyer is about to get recalled. They got enough votes. Well, easy.
she was the one throwing the bird. I was impersonating her.
Yeah, she was.
Was it a two-hand bird or was it a
No,
one?
I think it was
I think it was a
bird.
It
one-hand
was a
bird.
one.
So apparently they got
strong
enough,
right there.
They have enough signatures. So we'll see what happens with that whole situation. I mean, there's a lot of work to be done in New
There's
Orleans.
at least
We're not-
one person in her
We're
corner.
not getting into politics right now, obviously, but that's But yeah, New Orleans is a dangerous spot. Las Vegas, then the Pro Bowl was a little dangerous
For some people.
for some people, and the
Better
video.
you better realize who you're talking to. That's all that I got from that video. You never know. You should know.
We'll see. So the video
Those man's got
shows.
hands.
The video shows the guy getting his ass beat.
Doesn't show what happened.
It
before.
doesn't show it happen now.
We don't know.
You have the whole squad
Yeah.
going on one guy. I'm not on that.
Yeah,
You know
I'm
what
not.
I mean?
I'm not sitting here saying he was in the wrong, but I mean, I'm sure they didn't just look at him and that happened. So I would love to know what actually led up.
I don't
to
know if we should play that. Should we play that
Why?
video? I don't know.
It just gets a little 1, 2, 1.
I would love to
See,
know
I don't
what
like.
led up to
I
it.
hate the stomping thing.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's too
because you
much.
ruin your shoes.
No, that's
Oh
not
my
why.
goodness.
I mean, I just don't like. I don't know.
I feel like I'd rather get stomped on than hit in the face like Alvin Kamara just got stomped on. Like,
Coach,
if AK throws 3 hands in my nose, it's
Coach.
over.
what do you think hurts more? Being kicked in the face or being punched in the face?
Yeah, but this guy wasn't really bringing it with the feet. AK's bringing it with the arms.
Oh no,
I don't
he's not hitting. He's not bringing it with the feet with the
I-
shoe right to the face.
I'd rather take a shoe to the chest than an AK
That
fist
was to the
nose.
face, Coach.
I think he's missing a little. He's kind of, it's hard to get that much, like, generate that much drive with your foot. You can't really get into it a little bit. It looks like he's trying to start a motorcycle.
I'm confused as your reasoning right now, but it's okay.
I love when Lloyd goes.
I hope you don't ever have to experience that.
Me either. I'm sure it'll happen at some point.
I hope it doesn't.
Well, thank
I hope
you.
you never get on the ground just getting stuck.
Now, what makes you think I'm sure it'll happen at some point? Like what leads you to that
How
conclusion?
many fights have you been in your life?
I've never been in a fight.
Okay.
So what makes you lead?
You think this is gonna happen?
Yeah, I would love to
Because
know.
I do talk a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, but I think
But
you
I'm
know
not a
when
big-
you can and when you
yes.
can't.
Yes. But I've never been in a one-on-one fight. I've been in bar fights. Does that count? Like, it's never been the circle around. It's you 1v1. It's like, keep your head on a swivel. Somebody's getting worked.
Could you imagine Lloyd in a 1v1? That's
I
just
stuck my finger in his beer bottle.
it just would be very, very, very hilarious.
And he wanted to fight you, so you
David-
started the fight.
No, that's how the fight was already starting, and that's how I thought I was diffusing the situation, and he got more upset.
Did he hit
So
with a beer
you,
bottle?
And
so
I
time
said
out.
somebody
So
else
wait. When you obviously this was not a very sober thought, but when you stuck your finger in his beer bottle, you really thought that was gonna bring him to being like, "Oh, this is so funny. Let's have a great time."
Yeah.
What's your name, brother?
It's better. I was like a wet willy just for
Oh, my
him.
God.
And I just went and stuck it in there. I was like, let's end this thing. Like,
You
what are we
thought
doing
you
here?
thought that
was gonna
That
diffuse
was
it.
gonna diffuse it, huh?
Or maybe I thought I was going to instigate a little more. I don't
That's-
know.
that's
But he
probably-
was about to get in a fight anyway. And so I was like, I might as well get my 2 cents
So you
in
just
here.
wanted to be a part of it then?
And then we had to close out next to him, and his face was. We had a guy. This is in Sean's fraternity in Lafayette. He was a Gold Gloves boxer, coming out of like
Oof, can't do that.
no,
You gotta register the hands.
and he was there, so we really didn't have anything to worry about. And this guy that wanted to pick a fight with him, we all had to close out together, and this kid's face is just pouring blood.
Why was he still in there?
Because they kicked us out, but then they're like, if you have any tabs open, this is in Lafayette.
So
I
they
think
let him
at
back in?
Marley's.
So they let him back in to close his tab?
No, he never got kicked out. He was like, everybody has to go, but if you have your
Wait,
tab open,
I'm so confused.
I know, me
So
too.
you're just telling me that securities can walk around? They stopped the fight. And they walked around and said, "Yeah, that guy with the bloody nose can stay in. Hey, have a good
I had
time."
to close
wrestling."
out right
Looked
next-
like you walked in like this.
Me and my brother closed out right next to him. We were like, damn, that was wild. He's like, don't fucking talk to me right now. I just got, like, he looked brutal. And he was just, still had the old hand up. You know, you put the old elbow on the bar.
Just never understood bar fights to me. I just think
Well,
there's
it's alcohol.
obviously alcohol.
can't
and
handle
it's
their
big-
liquor.
It's alcohol and egos. I'm like,
Yeah, a little
there's-
bravado.
And girls.
There's a lot of other stuff going on here that's way more fun than trying to fight.
Also, just got confirmation the Cal story is true.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. From a good source?
Yeah, his dad was on the team when Cal was on the team.
Wow.
Don't
Shout
don't
out.
tell on your source without telling on your source.
I'm not.
God.
I'd imagine it's. Do I know who it is?
No.
Oh. Okay. You got through a text message?
He just texted me. He texted his mom, and she was like, "Yep, we had to go through with that." That's all I'll say, but it was true, which is hilarious.
We won't dispose.
How much pull? I mean,
We won't dispose of the name of who it was.
no, I don't want.
No,
Cal
we
to
didn't give
I
any
don't want
names.
the Iron Man to get.
No,
upset.
that or even the actor.
Even the actor.
But it's a big actor.
Yeah, you know. Big actor.
What? I guess
It's been in a good bit of sports movies. Don't start guessing because
Oh,
we're not
I
going to say.
already know who it is then.
Well, that was it right there. That was.
I just said he's good. Yeah, that doesn't mean anything.
No, but like, if you've watched sport movies, you probably know who it is.
Not necessarily. You could think it's a football movie. You could think it's a hockey movie.
Maybe it's Denzel. You never know.
Yeah, literally.
It's not
You never
Denzel.
know.
It would be an honor.
No, we
It's
won't.
not.
We won't say it.
Denzel.
It's Bob Uecker.
Yeah. Yeah. That's who
Harry
it was.
Carey.
No, but dude. So back to this Alvin Kamara thing. I think that one, it's not good.
No.
Gonna get suspended.
Yeah.
He's gonna be back in the league,
Yeah.
but
You think this is a year long?
no.
I don't think so either.
I think he might get more than what he was originally going to get, though.
Listen.
I do think
listen
that's
to me.
possible.
If
I wouldn't be surprised if it's 6 to 8.
it's
Wouldn't be
not gonna
surprised.
Give
be
him 6 suspended. I mean, close it, shut it down to 4.
no, it'll be 8
To
appeal to
6.
6.
Yeah.
I think
Ugh.
because he's not suspended for the year. If Deshaun Watson's not suspended for a full year,
Yeah, dude.
okay, let's get this off there. I don't want to watch
A
that.
couple
Anymore.
shots in.
I don't watch that anymore. He's not gonna get suspended for a whole year, but that also may change the way the Saints draft, too. Right?
Yeah.
Like, do the Saints take use their first round pick, get a running back?
No.
second round pick,
Wait,
get a
time
running
out.
back?
That may change the way the Saints draft from the outside looking in.
Right.
I would imagine they already knew about this video
No
and
doubt.
saw the
No
video
doubt.
and was like,
exactly.
yeah.
They listen. If they didn't,
I don't think that hit them today. It was like, oh shit, we gotta start looking at.
I would imagine Goodell was like, hey guys,
been having this.
This is what we got. Y'all figure out what y'all are gonna do internally.
Yeah.
And I'm just letting you know this is gonna happen. Now, you would like to think that's how Roger Goodell is gonna operate, but some stuff in the past doesn't seem like he's very honest with certain teams.
No, but I guess the best way to say it is I'm pretty positive we didn't get this video footage at the same time as the Saints brass.
No.
That's just my guess.
And if we did, that's not good.
If we did, that's not good. I wouldn't guess that though.
It's not like, I mean, who that wasn't released by TMZ or anything, right? Usually TMZ is the one who releases it before anybody else gets it, and that's when like the Ray Rice stuff and like all of that, like that's when that gets released and like boom, it just it's viral and like okay, everybody's on it.
I feel like if TMZ would, I don't think it was. We could go back and look, but I feel like if TMZ was the one that released it, it would have happened way before a full season.
Me too.
Being that it was surveillance, you know what I mean? Yeah.
It would have happened during the year. Now everybody was wondering how they got the video of the actual car. Apparently, it was like a limousine service, and I guess they have a camera in there.
Ah.
So,
crime's tough these days.
Oh, you're on camera. That's not good.
Yeah, it's like Real Sex on HBO. Or no, Taxi Cab Confessions. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Where it's a bunch of cabs in New York City, and I guess they have consent to film the people that get in there, but there's some wild stories that come out of the people that are getting in taxis at like 3 a.m.
What you be watching, bro?
And they just tell
premium cable and HBO in the 90s.
They tell the cab driver this?
Well, yeah, they I guess the
or like
cabbie
their
had to
stories
let
are
them
actually
know.
happening in
This
the
is
cab.
happening live in the cab.
So like the cab driver is telling the stories of what's happened in his cab.
No, he's just filming the back seat, and like they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" Sometimes nothing happens. Sometimes a lot happens. Still on HBO, Coach. Look it up.
I don't really watch all that.
I'm just saying, this isn't the first time that somebody's been filmed in the back of a car for a ride.
I guess this took a turn.
Taxi Cab Confessions.
I mean,
it's a real thing. It's not a porn. I mean,
I've
it's
heard
like real.
of it. I've heard of it. I just, I don't know. I mean,
It's been going on forever.
Everybody said some crazy stuff at 3 a.m. before. You know what I mean?
Especially in a cab.
I mean, usually at 3 a.m. in a cab, I'm not saying a thing. I'm about passed out.
Are you a big front seat in the cab guy, or do you go like if there's more than
no?
Cab?
I'm getting in the back seat.
No, I'm saying
Uber,
if there's multiple people, like there's only 2 seats, somebody has to get in the front. Like, do you volunteer
in an Uber?
that? Yeah, or any.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
In a cab, I'll never sit in the front of a cab.
That's what you used to have to do. There was no Uber.
Yeah, but usually they don't let you sit in the front of the cab. If you're in New York City, they're not letting you sit in the front.
No,
of the
I was
cab.
thinking more New Orleans.
Yeah, like
Because,
you're
like,
sitting
if
in the back.
If you go out to dinner and it's like, all right, there's 4 of us and there's 1 open seat in the front, somebody has to get the short straw and sit up there.
Honestly, dude, I couldn't even tell you the last time I rode in a cab in New Orleans.
Or an Uber. It happens in
Uber's
Ubers,
different.
too.
Uber, I have no problem sitting in the front. It's a normal car.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm getting in the back, Coach.
I'll sit in the front.
I'd rather not sit up front. I just get in the back, man. Let me be in my own world.
Because sometimes they chat.
You drive, I chill.
Is Kendall in there?
He is listening to
Yeah,
this
he's listening to how
conversation.
stupid this conversation is.
Well, let's see. Front or back seat guy.
No, you don't put him on the spot. He's getting ready. All right. Kendall Rogers in the on-deck circle. We're going to take a 30-second break. Oh, 1 minute break, actually. Our ads are now 1 minute. And we're going to get him situated. We'll be right back. You're watching Mik'd Up. We'll be back to you in 1 minute. Hey, everybody. It's Mikie Mahtook from Mik'd Up. I don't even know what I was going to say.
God damn it.
Take 2.
Ready?
Action.
Hey, Kendall, you got us?
Hey, everybody. It's Mikie Mahtook. I mean...
All right, go on. Let's
Keep it going?
No, you got to do the whole thing. Hey everybody, it's Mikie Mahtook from Mik'd Up. If you haven't already subscribed and liked our show, fuck! Like and subscribe to our show. Let's go.
Yes, this is great. Take 4.
Liked and subscribed.
I like a nice bit
or
of credits,
subscribe
baby.
to
I
our
like
show.
the credits.
Let's go.
Outtakes.
Let's go.
Lock it up.
I got it. Hey everybody, it's Mike. My phone fucking rang. My phone rang. Maybe 8's the number. Let's go. I'm standing up. Yeah, I'm standing up. Hey everybody, it's Mikie Mahtook from Mik'd Up. If you haven't already liked or subscribed to our show, we're live every Monday, Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. from our studio. Come hang out with the boys, me, Jay Mitch, Jackie Boy, Lloyd. Lloyd has his shenanigans up in the corner. Come hang out with us again. Like and subscribe. We're live Mondays and Wednesdays from 6 to 8 p.m. Come hang out with us. We appreciate all the love. See you on the show. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. If you missed the first hour of the show, that's okay. You can go back and rewind it and watch it. We talked a lot about LSU Baseball. Talked a lot about the upcoming schedule of LSU Baseball, which is this weekend at the Round Rock Classic. If you haven't already signed up for the streaming, D1 Baseball is going to be streaming these games. They have a promo code on, if you don't know what the promo code is, follow Kendall Rogers. He has a promo code on Twitter. You can get, I think it's 15% off. Kendall Rogers is on the show right now. I appreciate him coming on. He can tell you all the details. I'm trying to give him a pub, but I'm probably messing it up. Kendall, thanks for coming on the show, man. I appreciate it.
Dude, it's good to be back. Hey, did I see a champagne bottle during the commercial break?
Yeah.
That's exactly what you saw.
That's a Lloyd. I love that you got the Tigers in the background. That's a nice.
Hey, you mean business when you're bringing up the champagne on a Wednesday night.
Yeah, I know. That's a Lloyd move. We actually have a funnel, and every Friday we make him funnel one of our Heineken Silvers on the show.
It's not going great, but I'm trying my best.
Yeah,
we're
working on it. It's like he's never went to college before in his life.
His performance with it is subpar, but we're working on it.
Not only that, but college LSU. Come on, man.
Exactly.
And he's got the brand a little bit, dude.
And he's got a mullet. I mean, he's literally insulting the mullet people.
He's got like the Southern Louisiana starter kit.
No doubt. Kendall, man.
But so I can defend myself. First of all, I would drink every single one of you under the table.
Okay.
And I think
Yeah,
not without PEDs. Get out of here.
Hey, if you got 'em,
Get out of here.
If you got them, use them.
Nah, you're cheating.
You know what? I've always been one of those people. Like, I'm kind of like proud that I don't have to like drink a ton to get the trip done.
You're a cheaper
Less
date.
calories, man. Hey, dude, when you're bigger guys like me, you don't want to get those extra calories.
No doubt. No, I respect that. You know it works for you. You know it works for you, and you stay with what it goes. And you know,
exactly.
Big tree fall hard.
You get drunk. Yeah, you get drunk for less money and less calories. I think that's a win-win right there.
Amen.
Let's jump into this, man. I appreciate you coming on the show. Obviously, we talk a lot about LSU here, but we also talk a lot about SEC baseball and college baseball in general. As far as the landscape, before we really jump into LSU and what you see and what you expect from this team, as far as the landscape goes in college baseball and the SEC in particular, is this the best and the deepest that you've seen college baseball in a long time?
It is, man. I'll tell you what, it's kind of funny. We always talk so much about SEC football, but I mean, SEC baseball is deeper than SEC football, and I think overall it's better top to bottom. I mean, I think when you look at this league, you think about Missouri. Think about when you played like Missouri. Wasn't very good, and
right.
Missouri goes on the road to the college baseball showdown over the weekend. Beats Texas and goes 2-1. They beat TCU. They go 2-1. So they beat two of the top 4 teams in the Big 12. And you know what? They've got some arms, but I can promise you they're probably going to finish in the bottom 2 or 3 in the SEC. So it gives you an idea how deep this conference is this year. It's pretty incredible to say the least. And honestly, it will not happen, but it really should be like SEC softball where pretty much every team gets in. That's how good I think this league is.
Yeah, and staying on the SEC, it's I think they had 7 out of 10 in the preseason top 10, right? I think there was, I don't know, 10 or 11 teams, maybe more than that in the top 25, right? So obviously they have a ton of hype. Is there a team in the SEC that people aren't really talking about that you should look at and say, hey, you know what? Be careful. Like if these guys kind of figure it out, kind of like an A&M last year, right? Nobody was really talking much about A&M, and they came out of nowhere.
Yeah, South Carolina is that team. South Carolina has pretty much, we were talking about starter kits a minute ago with champagne and alcohol, but I think South Carolina's got kind of the A&M starter kit from last year. If you look at those guys overall, they went out and hit the portal hard. They went out and got Will McGillis from Southern Miss. They went out and got some other portal guys, and then you look at their pitching staff, and they have a potential first-round pick in Will Sanders on Friday night. Kate Austin's back at the back end of the bullpen, and they've got some really nice pieces on the mound. So South Carolina has followed the A&M model. They've gone out and gotten a lot of guys that have had a lot of college at-bats, and as you guys well know, having a lot of at-bats means a lot in college baseball. So keep an eye on South Carolina. I'm not that sold on them just yet, but they're about as close to A&M last year as you're going to get.
So, you talk about South Carolina and you talk about Missouri already. Who else in the SEC right now to start this thing? Like, of what you've seen so far this year, and obviously it's a very, very, very small sample, but what you've seen so far this year, who else right now is impressing you and you're thinking, like, this is another team to keep a real eye on?
Well, I'm going to give you a really obvious one that I think's played really well the first, 4 games, and that's Ole Miss. It's one thing to win a national championship and then come back the next year, and I think it's easy, even against the opponents they're playing, it's easy to have a hangover. And I tell you what, Ole Miss right now is hitting the cover off the ball. Peyton Chutney, we just talked about how important it is to have at-bats in college baseball. You're talking about a guy that, has probably had, 650 to 700 bats in college baseball. He's hitting 583 right now. Ethan Groff, the Tulane product, transferred to Ole Miss in the offseason. He's off to a terrific start. I don't know. I actually don't know how in the world Tulane even let him leave. Like, he's one of those guys, like, I'm getting any kind of NIL deal I can get to get him to stay at Tulane. He's off to a great start. And they've got some young arms. Grayson Saunier has gotten off to a really good start for them. So, Ole Miss has played well. Mississippi State has not played very well. They have 10 errors in 3 games over the weekend. Their pitching was abysmal for the most part, but they did bounce back today. I don't know, you boys might want to go look at this home run. Dakota Jordan, one of the more talented freshmen in the country, hit a ball 475 feet tonight against UL Monroe. It was a bomb. And by the way, Mikey, if only you could have played with the ball that these guys are playing with right now. I don't care what anybody says, dude. This ball is crazy.
Is that the deal? Is it like the big league ball, or they kind of changed it so they changed the bats and made them worse, but they made the balls better?
Yeah.
Is that kind of how it worked?
So what I think happened, you remember a couple of years ago when the big leagues got rid of a bunch of balls, and I think they got rid of 20,000 balls because they thought they were juiced up. Honest to God, think they took those balls and just put the college scenes on them. So here's a stat for you. So last year, opening weekend, 715 home runs, right?
Right.
Opening weekend 2023, 852.
Wow.
That is a ridiculous growth percentage.
Do you think the home run record of 188 is gonna ever get beat that LSU had? Is that in danger?
No, back then they were using juice balls
and juice bats. And juice.
That's not the only juice.
Well, I wasn't going to say that. I was going to let y'all, because if I said that, Tiger Droppings would have a freaking party with me.
If you know what Tiger Dropping is, obviously you've been on there before.
Hey, nobody had more impressive forearms than Blair Barbier, man.
No doubt. Blair's a great guy.
Unbelievable guy.
I love me some Blair Barbier.
Did more hammer curl. Either he had really good protein or he had a hell of a hammer curl routine.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Okay, so we're talking SEC. We're talking teams that are surprised you positively. Obviously, it's super early in the season.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to overreact early on. Tennessee starts the season 1-2. I think they won last night, or they're winning tonight, I think. So they're going to be 2-2 to start the year. What happened over the weekend with them? Obviously, people love to hate Tennessee. I know they have LSU and Tennessee the last couple of years have had, have kind of knocked heads. I think that's really good for baseball. I think having that type of chippiness is great. What have you seen from them, and what do you think the reasons of why they lost that series?
Well, I can give you one big reason. They didn't have 3 of their best players. Maui Ahuna is an All-American. He didn't play because, there's quote-unquote, their NCAA is quote-unquote looking at tampering in the transfer portal when he moved from Kansas to Tennessee. I think they're honestly just making him sit out a couple of weeks to basically prove a point. So they didn't have him. They didn't have Griffin Merritt in their lineup. It was a the reigning American Conference Player of the Year, over a guy like Ethan Groff. He didn't play for him over the weekend. And by the way, here's the one thing nobody's talking about. And, I totally get it. Grand Canyon's a WAC team. They're a good WAC team, by the way.
Yeah.
They could very well have the best player in college baseball outside of Dylan Cruz and Jacob Wilson. But, people, go dig in the box score. So, Grand Canyon did this. How about this, dude? You play teams in midweek where they threw, their ace, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Grand Canyon threw their number 2 starter as the starter in that game. They brought in their number 3 starter in relief, and they brought back their Friday dude to throw the final inning just to get that win. So they threw all 3 weekend starters, including the reigning WAC pitcher of the year, to win that game. So, I mean,
that happens.
It's hard to fault Tennessee very much, but I think Tennessee will be fine. I think once they get all their guys back in the lineup, they won't skip a beat. I mean, they were solid on the mound. I think they're still going to be really, really good.
Last NCAA baseball question, SEC baseball question before we move on to LSU is pitch clock, right? Obviously, me and Jared came up through minor league baseball, and the pitch clock was a thing. They've steadily, decreased the amount of time you have to get in the box and to make a pitch. Yeah. So they're trying to speed the game up. What's your feelings on that? Because you've already seen guys getting punched out because of the pitch clock, guys getting balls, getting walking guys because of a pitch clock.
Yeah.
What's your feelings on the pitch clock?
Well, so positive and negative, and I'll give you the quick positive. It is going to make games shorter. I mean, if you look at LSU's games over the weekend, they were pretty quick for the most part. I think we were able to get game times for 75% of the games in college baseball over the weekend, and the average time of the game was 15 minutes shorter. When you're talking about trying to sell college baseball to the masses, or you're trying to sell college baseball to the casual fan, 15 to 20 minutes is actually a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
And so that is a positive. The negative is it's putting way too much pressure on umpires. Kind of looking at the college baseball showdown over the weekend, the home plate umpire, as soon as he went behind the plate and as soon as the pitcher got on the mound, was having to signal to the press box or whoever's running the clock to start the clock. So you're asking a guy to make close calls in the field, go behind the plate, signal to a clock operator, and by the way, 2 seconds later, you want him to make a perfectly good strike or ball call. So I can tell you, if it is like it was in Arlington last weekend, it's going to end up being a big deal because I think they rung up 3 people struck out, one in the bottom of the 8th inning when they were losing.
Right.
3 people struck out because of the rule, and 3 or 4 people actually walked because of the rule. So it had a pretty profound effect on the tournament.
Yep, no doubt, and that's kind of, I think that's what everybody's starting to see. Obviously, you see it could happen in the first inning. It's not going to make a difference. It happens in the 8th inning, and it kind of starts determining games. People are going to start raising questions, asking questions, and kind of getting upset about it.
But there's also huge turning points in the game too, where it can happen.
Absolutely.
Like I don't know if you noticed this, but there was in LSU's Tuesday game. I want to say in that inning where they came back, they were down 4-0. They put up 5 spot in that inning.
Yeah.
I think there was an 0-2 call that was a ball called because of the pitch clock that got it to 1-2, and now the 2-2 pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, the 1-2 pitch ends up getting hit, run score, and I think those counts like that end up shifting at bats more than you think.
No doubt.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And I think the other thing too is umpires don't like it. I mean, every umpire I spoke with didn't like it, and here's why. Imagine if you're calling a regional in Baton Rouge, LSU, is down by 1 run, bases loaded in the bottom of the 8th, and let's just say Paxton Clean is out of the box 1 second over the clock. Could you imagine LSU season ending on that kind of call and having the umpire be blamed for it?
Right.
Oh my God.
I mean, I'm being serious. It wouldn't matter if it's at LSU, Texas, or A&M. He's probably getting a death threat. That's not to say somebody's going to act on it, but it just creates unwanted situations that I just don't think need to happen.
Absolutely.
It should be a part of the game. I would agree.
Right. It's hard. It's hard to learn on the fly, but it's the rule, and they're gonna have to deal with it, and we'll see. Hopefully, it doesn't affect it to that extent, but TBD. All right, so LSU opens the season. Obviously, they're unanimous number 1 team in the country. They in all 4 major polls, preseason number 1 have, in my opinion, one of the most talented teams in the history of LSU, potentially.
Yeah.
Right? They got to go out there and they got to do it and they got to perform. Obviously, all of those types of things, but they go out there and they take care of business this weekend with Western Michigan. All the guys that came in, minus Tommy White, who went down. Hopefully, he's back here soon, perform to the extent that you expected. They're going to face their first big challenge this weekend in Round Rock, and then next Tuesday with LSU. What have you seen over the first weekend, and what do you want to see over these next 4 games?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me is Paul Skenes is a real deal. I saw Paul last year pitch for Air Force, and it was primarily a 2-pitch guy. Granted, he threw a plethora of sliders over the weekend, but the slider wasn't as sharp as it was in that game on Friday. Right. The fastball last year didn't have quite the zip on it that it does now with Wes Johnson. And that changeup, is a pitch that he only threw a couple of times, over the weekend against the Broncos. But, it's going to be a weapon for him. You're talking about a guy that's going to sit 98 to 101, and he's going to throw a changeup at like 92 miles per hour to go with the slider at 86, 87. So he looks like the real deal. And last year he was really good. He wasn't this good. And so, the thing about Paul that's really interesting is when he's on the mound, it looks like the dude is throwing like a miniature baseball or something. Right. Like that's how big his hands look. Right. So he's just a special player. And, I think when you look at the rest of that team, Trey Morgan obviously had a great showing in the midweek, hitting for the cycle. Dylan Cruz is going to be Dylan Cruz. I love the 2 freshmen and Jared Jones and Paxton Clean. And assuming Tommy White comes back, the thing about this lineup is, people talk so much about the top. But I like some of these other pieces. Gavin Dugas has been in the program for a while. Jordan Thompson's been in the program for a while. He's a guy that Jay in the fall thought had really made big improvements. And really, if you look at JT's numbers last year, offensively, the dude hit for some pop. So I think this lineup, top to bottom, is really good. Obviously, the top 3, 4, 5 guys are the elite of the elite. But I think for me, when I look at LSU, and my job is to poke holes in the team. My thing for LSU is, Thatcher Hurd wasn't great against Southern. And for LSU to get to the level that they want to get, which is to win the 7th national title in program history, you need guys like Thatcher Hurd performing. You need Chase Shores to make a quick transition. Theoretically, you want to be going into conference play, and no disrespect to Riley Cooper, but I think you want to go into conference play with a rotation with guys that are, what I would call prospecting premier arms. Yeah. And so, right. Maybe the formula is Riley Cooper. I don't know, but it's hard to imagine Riley Cooper sustaining that level in an entire SEC schedule.
Yeah. Now, this weekend, they're going to have their biggest challenge, obviously. It's 4 games in. They're going to face Kansas State, Iowa, and Sam Houston. I don't know much about those teams outside of the fact that Jay came on our show on Monday and said apparently Iowa's got a guy that throws like 110 miles an hour or something. I don't know. And so you can fill me in on that.
Yeah, I'll be really honest. Kansas State's not very good. They have so 2 guys. I'll give you a couple of guys to watch for Kansas State. Keep an eye on Kalen Culpepper, their talented third baseman, and Nick Goodwin, their talented shortstop. They're both good prospects. They're really athletic guys. Kalen's one of the more talented guys in the sophomore class. If they can get going, Kansas State can be scary. K-State did lose all 3 weekend starters from last year. Sam Houston State, they're a perennial solid mid-major. I would say they're kind of like La Tech light. La Tech's really good every year as a upper mid-major. Sam Houston State, for the most part, is pretty good every year as a mid-major. And so, keep an eye on those guys. Walker Janik's a really, really talented player for the Bearcats. But the dude to watch this weekend is for Iowa, and that's Brody Brett. You just mentioned it a minute ago. I don't think he throws 110, but the dude. I was talking to Rick Keller, their head coach of the day. The guy averaged 99 on TrackMan for 5 innings with his fastball, and so he's got a massive arm. And by the way, Jared, I like this. He's also an Iowa football player. So you're talking about a guy with an Iowa football background. That can throw a baseball 99. It makes you wonder if he can play quarterback for Iowa.
Seriously. Is he a big dude? That was
they could have scored less points.
6'4", 235.
There it is.
Boom, that's what I said.
Over and over. All right.
I was making sure. I was like, I don't see him being a 6'1", 185-pound guy from Iowa. I think he's going to be.
He's a donkey, man.
Yeah. That's what we figured too. So, you kind of ran through and outlined this LSU team a little bit. Which one of these young guys, because I think we were all pretty surprised when this lineup came out to start the year, and obviously the lineup changed pretty much all 4 of these games so far. But which one of these young guys do you see kind of rising to the top and basically being that freshman or that premier freshman that basically takes a spot and doesn't let it go for the rest of the year?
Well, I got to give a lot of props to Jared Jones. I mean, you're talking about a guy who not only is hitting for power, he's driving and runs. And by the way, he's showing a really mature approach. He's got, 4 or 5 walks already this year. But I'll tell you what, again, I'll kind of go back to our starter kit joke earlier. But like Paxton Clean, like to me, just looks like a Dylan Cruz starter kit. He reminds me a lot of Dylan physically. When he was a freshman at LSU, Dylan was a little thicker, but like, the hair, kind of just the body type, the way he approaches things at the plate. Paxton reminds me a lot of Dylan, and I know he's off to a little bit of a slow start, but he's a guy that I think is going to have a monster year for them. Yeah. If I was a betting man, I'd say he hit 310, 330, something like that, with double-digit home runs. I think he's an absolute stud. But Jared Jones, the thing that stood out to me about him when I saw LSU in the fall was just the raw power. It was just like everything off his bat was hard contact, and you're kind of seeing it so far this year.
Yeah.
Speaking of Dylan Cruz, obviously he's projected to go 1 overall, or one of the handful of guys that can go 1 overall. Are you on par with that? Do you think he is the number 1 overall pick in the draft? I agree.
I love everything about him. Again, my job's to try to find a way to poke holes into somebody, and it's hard. And with Dylan, I mean, you could really, I guess you could argue that his walk strikeout ratio could be a little bit better. But I mean, you're talking about a guy who has a plus approach to the plate, has plus power at the plate, has a great frame, great swing. And the thing I like about him too, and I'm really big on this. When I go and watch players, like I'm really big on demeanor. Like I want to see like how they react in the game. Like for instance, again, I'm not hating on Tennessee, but like when I watch Drew Gilbert, like it concerns me because he's ultra emotional. He plays like he constantly plays like he's offended or like somebody made him mad. And Dylan's just one of those guys like you could have a Cajun yelling at him out behind third base and calling him every name in the book. And it's like the dude just has blinders and earplugs on. And I think that certainly serves him well now, but it's going to serve him even better at the next level.
Yeah, so obviously he's 1 overall. Paul Skenes probably has the potential to go top 5, maybe contend for the number 1 overall. Is there somebody else on this team right now that you think that, obviously Trey Morgan can go out there and can, hit his way into – do you see somebody that can maybe sneak into the first round outside of those 2 guys?
Oh, sure, Ty Floyd.
Yeah. I agree.
I think Ty Floyd, I mean, outside of Grant Taylor, that's what just kills me about Grant Taylor getting hurt is like Grant was phenomenal the day I saw LSU in Lafayette. But outside of him, because Paul Skenes didn't pitch that day, Ty Floyd was the best arm I saw. I mean, the breaking stuff was on point that day. It was up to 96, 97 with the fastball. And I love seeing it because Ty was one of those guys. I remember Paul Maneri was telling me out of high school that had a huge arm. He's like, I remember him telling me at the beginning of the fall, like, hey, you're going to love this guy. And so I went and watched LSU that fall because, I always go to the Purple and Gold series, so it was November, and he's still like 91, 92. And so I'm sitting there looking at the radar going like, man, do I need to recalibrate this thing?
Right.
And Paul's just like, yeah, his velo, it just hasn't been what it was in high school. And so, like, Ty Floyd showed these glimpses in high school, didn't really show it the first couple of years, but it's finally clicking for him. He's obviously finally very healthy. So he's one of those guys, and I wouldn't discount Trey. I don't really know where he projects the next level. I mean, you don't really see many first basemen in Major League Baseball with his frame. I'll tell you what, the guy's a heck of a defender over there. He saves a lot of runs for LSU, and he's certainly a very pure hitter. And again, we talked about Dylan and his mentality. I mean, Trey's as good of a kid as it gets, and certainly a consummate hard worker.
So, obviously, his first outing in purple and gold wasn't basically what you would want it to be. But I think we can all agree if LSU is going to get where they want to go at the end of the year, you're going to need a lot more production out of Thatcher Hurd. Can you explain what it is that you see out of him when he is pitching his A game?
Well, when he's pitching his A game, it's elite spin. I mean, I think back to when I saw him in the fall and his breaking ball that day, his slider, the spin rate averaged 3,000 to 3,200. And, you guys play pro ball. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's like that's like well above Major League average. So when Thatcher Hurd is right, I mean, it's 91, 94, bumping 5 with the fastball. He's going to dump that slider in there with those elite spin rates. And the big thing for Thatcher is commanding that slider with those spin rates. It's one thing to throw with crazy spin, but if somebody's laying off of it and you're not getting over the plate, who cares? So that'll be the big thing for him. But there's no doubt he's got elite potential, and he was on his way to having a phenomenal freshman year until he had that back issue last year.
Yeah, Kendall, man, I appreciate your time. Just a couple more questions. I obviously signed up for the streaming D1 pass for this weekend because I want to watch the Tigers play. If anybody else wants to sign up and be able to get the weekend pass, how do they do that? Is there a code? Is there something they can use to be able to sign up?
Yeah, man. So you go to just d1baseball.com, click on streaming, sign up for the weekend pass, put in the code LSU KRR, Carbach Roundup, and that will give you 15% off. I've had a lot of questions of people, and you guys are young bucks, so you'll know what I'm talking about. But I've had a lot of people reach out. I had an 86-year-old woman from Covington call me the other day because I am D1 Baseball customer service. So she calls me and says, "Hey, I don't know how to get the streaming on my TV." So she was the sweetest old lady, and I talked to her and I said, "Hey, just pull up your iPhone, pull up your tablet, click on AirPlay, or you can go old school and put your HDMI on your TV." But you know what? I'm looking forward to it. We've pumped quite a bit of money into having a 1080p production. We're bringing in Ben McDonald for the weekend, Kyle Peterson, Chris Berg. So all the guys that you see at the College World Series on ESPN will be doing these games, and we couldn't be more excited to get Paul Skenes and the Tigers, game 1 in our streaming debut. I can't wait.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. What's wrong?
No, I'm wondering, how are you going to do the production on this thing? Do you have them zoom in and they're going to be in separate boxes, or are they coming in studio?
No,
what's this going to look
they're
like?
on the same team. Come on, dude. Who do you think we are? No,
let's say it.
Lloyd does a production here. He tries to do half-ass production sometimes.
Man, go hard or go home, dude.
Hey, we can get people in studio. It's a struggle sometimes, but it feels like you're here.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this weekend. I'm trying to get out there. Obviously, I don't know. It's going to be a last-minute type of thing. But I appreciate you coming on.
If you do, holler at me.
Yeah, absolutely. And whenever you come in, we'd love to get you in studio, talk more about baseball kind of as the season unfolds. I know it's super early right now, so it's all still kind of speculation. But eventually, it'll kind of get underway, and we'll have you back on.
Get Mikey on the stream.
You got it, man. Yeah, you got it. By the way, I like Jared's shirt over there. Michael Jordan's by far the best player in the history of basketball.
Oh, you open up a can of worms. We've had this conversation many a times. All day.
Again, man. Thank you.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, later, guys.
That was a good educational college baseball conversation right there.
Kendall's got a pulse on the college baseball landscape.
Well, that's his livelihood, man.
Man, love it.
How do I get invited to the production?
That's
of
what I was trying to get in there.
Yeah,
I was trying to see what.
Just keep having him on the show, and maybe he'll eventually.
You would be great on a live, we'll find out Friday, a little watch party.
Yeah, that's different. That's way different. And we're not gonna have a watch party for the whole game. That's not gonna happen. I'm just gonna let y'all know that right now. But we will start the game with you.
Lloyd's he's so hurt by that comment right there.
As long as it's here and I don't have to set anything up.
No, we're here. We are here. It's Wednesday.
That was a big blow to the paycheck. Losing those travel days, those remotes.
It's okay.
Okay.
We'll get some back.
We'll get it back.
Seems like we're kind of on the process of getting one. But
David Busters?
No, it's just got to be the way we want it, and we'll have this conversation off air.
Yeah.
Manning Cast.
It's Wednesday.
We're joining Omaha Productions.
It's Ask Mikey and Mitch. AskM&M Day. We have a few questions. I don't know if anybody's put any questions in the chat.
They did. I have them queued up.
Look at you. All right.
Look at you working over there.
Are we going to do the same thing? We're going to go one and one, right?
Yeah. I have the YouTube.
I have the ones on the document.
Okay, so I'll go back and forth. I'll start off on the YouTube. First one up from our boy Tibbs. Send it and see what happens. It worked. AskM&M. Jared, what do you remember most about hitting PP at Robin Perez's house? I used to at House to do up here. I used to take lessons there when I was a kid.
What do I remember most
Robin
about it?
Perez. Is that
Yeah, Josh Perez is that.
And he watched you hit a few times.
Yeah. What I remember most about it? We used to work hard. Robin was all about. It was lots of swings we got in there, and I loved every bit of it. One of my fonder memories of baseball growing up was getting to go back in his backyard. So yeah, actually, I grew up a little bit with his son Josh, who I think is coaching now in college ball somewhere. But I remember that the most because it was a good time to get in there and really grind it out.
All right. Also from Twitter.
Oh, you're doing the doc too.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought okay.
You could ask.
You got it. I didn't know you had the doc pulled up.
Absolutely. Well, I say that. That was one of the headlines. Where did the questions go?
Want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead. No, I got it. Does the starting rotation change at all this weekend? From LSU Capital on Twitter.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think this weekend it stays the same. I think that you still have, Skenes, Cooper, and Chase Shores, and then I think you see how it plays out, and then you see what happens on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then you go from there.
I think it stays the same. You also heard Jay on Monday talk a good bit about pitch counts. I think that's a lot to do with where he is, where guys are throwing right now. I think he wants Riley built up. I don't know how long he stays in that exact role, right? And I'm not, clamoring. I just know we've seen how he's used Riley in the past.
Right.
So it's not like he's afraid to do that at all.
Right.
But I do think he wants his pitch count built up so that there is a possibility that he can always do this. I think once maybe some of these other guys' pitch counts gets a little bit higher, you may see something. But for the weekend, I think it stays the same.
Also, side note about Riley Cooper, love the fact that after he came off the field, everybody said "Coo."
Oh, love it.
That's gonna carry for a while.
No doubt,
Love it.
no doubt.
And I mean, like, I want to give, I want people to understand, because I do think at the college level, it's very, very, very misconstrued when you don't see him as a weekend starter. You think, oh, he's not one of the best. Realize that this pitching staff, I think everyone knows, is leaps and bounds better as a whole than the pitching staff last year. Riley wasn't a starter last year. So it's not about if he can or can't stay in this rotation. I think for him, it's about where JC sees he needs him most.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. This from Josh Knoll on YouTube. He asks, how many nukes does Jarrett Jones hit this year, and will he hit 1 plus 40 plus? I didn't know that they had changed the balls, but I guess that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I
wish we didn't have those balls. We had bad balls. We had the high seams. They didn't travel. I have one over the A.
No. You gonna give the distance right now?
No, nobody has a distance on that.
Okay. Well, how about let's at the same time we go with the number that we think he's gonna hit this year. Just
the number amount of homers.
Yeah.
All right. You gonna count to 3?
On 3. When he gets to 3.
2, 1.
11.
18.
Oh, you said 18.
Yeah.
Wow.
I said when he gets to 3, and this man goes 3.
18 would be a monster year.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, Dylan's done it, so.
You're right. 18 sounds good.
Especially when they keep talking about these balls too, and if you watch the kid hit.
I think I shortchanged him.
I think he's so big that he's going to miss balls, and they're going to be 5 rows deep.
No doubt. No doubt.
I mean, I'm giving him 18.
I like that. I'll say 15.
Next one from Twitter. Our guy at ZMM_225. How does Jay manage such a deep roster and keep everyone happy with the transfer portal being such a big thing now?
Great question.
We kind of asked him about that a little bit, and I think that he's done a really good job early on. I think the most Thompson's got 13 at bats. I think he's got the most on the team right now. Obviously, you're gonna have him, Dylan Cruz, and those guys are gonna be in lineup every day. I think he's doing a good job of putting guys in and giving guys opportunities, and I think over time they're going to have an opportunity to just separate themselves, and he's going to find a lineup that he sticks with for the majority of the time. Now, baseball is crazy, right? Like, you can have the opportunity. You may get the opportunity like Austin Nola did with three SEC weekends left in the year, and you start there as a freshman and you move on. Or you may not get the opportunity until the next year. Some guys are probably going to get in the portal and leave next year. That's just the reality of the situation now, especially with the talent always coming in. But I think right now Jay's doing a really good job of giving everybody a little bit of attention right now on the field.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I think there will be, just because, like they're just going to reload again next year. Like there's going to be another group of transfers. There's going to be another group of freshmen coming in. There's going to be some reloading. So I do think you're not going to be able to keep them all. Who? I don't know. That'll play itself out. But what I do think is, like you said, he's done a great job, and I think he's going to continue to do a great job of being able to get guys into games and situations. Like, I feel like he's even pushing it even more because he realizes, twofold thing. I think he realizes just how good the guys that are quote-unquote not starting right now are, and has full confidence that, hey, we got an 8-1 lead in the 6th. That's not necessarily usually a spot where you, like, take people out. He's doing that already. So I think he realizes, like, hey, these guys need at-bats. They need situations. Here you are in spots where you usually would see guys wait a little bit longer to make those changes.
Yep. Agreed.
All right. We go straight to the queue.
Yep.
Fonz Farelli, our guy, back in it.
Well, he's in it. Here he is.
AskM&M. Have you ever been part or seen a perfect game? And do you feel it in the 6th, 7th inning, which I guess a question would be mine, like, when do you start knowing that we can't fuck with this guy if he's...
So I've never been a part of a perfect game. I have been a part of a no-hitter in the minor leagues. I've never done a no-hitter in the big leagues. But you start to feel it around, like, once you get through the 7th, that's when you're like, oh boy. Like, this thing's like
everybody's a little bit more nervous.
And it's not even that everybody's nervous. It's like, okay, everybody is locked in because you don't want to be that guy to be able to, like, be a step away from. Listen,
nobody wants to make that error.
Well, not nobody. If it's a no hitter, it's a little different. But if a ball is hit anywhere around you, even if you're 3 feet short, you're diving. Like, you're making sure that you're giving out every single effort, and I think that's what happens. Yeah,
I've never been a part of a perfect game or been in the game as the opposing team or anything, but I have been a part of a no-hitter. I would say, for me, as an outfielder, and I think, like, on the field as a player, once you're 2 times through the lineup and no one has a hit, which usually happens probably, I mean, obviously, if it's a perfect game, it'd be the end of, 6? End of 6. So 2 times through the lineup usually is about the time where you're like, all right, this is kind of getting real.
Yeah.
Right? Because there isn't that many. Usually the pitch count is still pretty low.
Mm-hmm. Nobody's in the pen.
Right. Like, it's, like it's far and few where you see those, like, no-hitters where the guy's got 85 pitches through 5.
Right.
Right? Like, that's hard to actually make it through the game. So around that time, I think you're like, oh shit, like this like we're on the field and off the field pretty much every inning, and that's when you're like, okay, it's kind of a real thing. But like you said, kind of don't speak about it. You just kind of, like, let it go, and you just kind of start noticing. So yeah.
Like, never even in high school y'all saw one?
No.
Perfect game?
Or a no-hitter?
Nope.
I was part of a no-hitter.
Yeah. Okay.
But
not even on the. I've never seen one or been a part of one, even on, like, travel ball, like, nothing. No.
I ruined a perfect game. I just drew a walk. So it still had the no-hitter intact.
I played with a teammate of mine in Chicago for 2021 for the White Sox. He was pitching for the Orioles. We were both coming up. We were both in AAA's first year, 2014. He was a big prospect. I was a big prospect. And Mike Wright.
Uh-huh.
And he went to ECU. And
Big dude.
Big dude.
Yeah,
Big dude. Great dude. But he had a no-hitter against us in Norfolk, Virginia. Or no, at home. And Alexi Casilla hit a ground ball to shortstop. Their shortstop. No, not Alexi was a shortstop. I'll take that back.
Uh-huh.
And Alexi threw the ball away. So made the error. That would have been 3 outs. I got up, 1-2, hit a double off the right center field wall.
Oh, God.
So broke up his no-hitter. It should have been a no-hitter. Broke up in the 9th inning. We played them a week later, 5 days later on his start. Doubleheader, 7 innings, 6 2/3, no hit. I broke it up again with a base hit. I got on first base, and he looked at me. He just did this. I'm like, sorry, dude. I'm sorry. That was twice in 1 week. I broke up his no-hitter on the last out. It's crazy.
I mean, it's Bush to bunt, right?
Yes.
Well, it depends on when.
The game.
Depends on when.
And it depends on who you are.
It depends on when and what the flow, like, I say the flow, what the game is. Like, where's the game right now?
If we're past the 7th.
It doesn't matter.
If it's a 1-0 game.
So if I say if it's past the 7th and it's a 2-0 game, I don't really think it's
if you getting on base allows the guy behind you to be the tying run, or you are the tying run, I think that's okay.
Yes, to score. If it's 6-0.
6-0,
that's
4-0, 5-0, Hey, if we get to, I'm telling you right now, if we get through 5 and it's 6-0 and you're bunting,
You're Bush.
You're Bush.
You're getting a ball thrown.
You're
out the head.
Bush.
Yeah.
All right, like literally through 5, you're Bush.
Yeah.
All right, next one up from Twitter. This is from our guy, E_Hammond. Eric Hammond, I'd imagine is his long name. If Tommy White plays this weekend and can only DH because of the shoulder injury, how possible do you think it is that Jared Jones plays first base and they move Trey to left field?
It's possible. I don't think that they're going to do that.
Yeah.
I think that they're going to keep the line.
What is the infatuation with Trey trying to play the outfield? Why do they always want to do that?
Because
Profile him.
Yeah, he doesn't project.
Just profile him.
Yeah, exactly.
If I told you right now, there's 30 major league teams right now. How many of those major league teams has a first baseman that physically looks like Trey?
Everyday first baseman.
Everyday first baseman, not somebody that comes in every day, like legit everyday first baseman. Name one.
I thought you said they're profiling. I was like,
No,
they are, but
physically,
not- yeah,
meaning not
physically
color wise, body build wise.
It's still February. It's up to you.
Oh my god,
This guy. No. I think he's
that's
right.
why.
That's why, and I think that he's also athletic enough to go play out in the outfield, and he's a lefty.
Yeah.
So like, he only has a couple positions. He can
But
play.
say like the body style, obviously, and then just like you said, like he is athletic enough to do other stuff. So that's the other thing too, where you're like, man, I get it. We know like a first baseman who's really good, who has a good glove,
It's huge.
It's so underrated that it's not even funny. But if you are athletic enough to do other stuff, then you're all kind of limiting yourself in a way.
right.
But I think this is just me, and I'm rarely right, but it feels like he could almost save more runs at first the way that he plays it than he could in the outfield.
Yeah, maybe, but
Defensively, yeah.
But that's why he's stuck there for so long. But if there is another way to get another real bat in the lineup by putting him in left, then it becomes a real conversation. And it's not off of Trey can't play first. It's off of, well, we got someone else who can do it adequately, and we could use that athleticism elsewhere as well.
Yep.
That's really where the conversation comes in.
And we have
So it's not, if you ever see him off, it's not a.
Where do you think he plays in the bigs? If he makes it to Major League
Both?
Baseball,
I think he plays a little bit of both. I think you can see him move around a little bit.
you saw him play the outfield, huh? Weren't y'all taking like last year?
Yeah, roll my ankle.
Got any advice for me?
Yeah,
do this.
Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah, you see these tennis shoes I got on right now, this slick grass?
Make sure
Don't
you
do
always
this.
wear spikes. No, I mean I haven't really watched him play out there, but I mean he's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I
Tracks
mean?
ball as well. I mean, like
He's athletic.
Even that play you almost made over the weekend, where
That's how you know he's gonna be fine, right?
Yeah.
Like going over his shoulder, running backwards in the outfield at first base. He tracks balls really well that way. Like going backwards, you don't. That's the biggest difference. That's the hardest thing for an infielder to do when he converts to an outfielder is see. Okay, how do I read this ball and take my drop steps and be able to stay on line, right? Because they're not used to going back.
I'll go super advanced for you. Here's how you really can tell if an infielder can play the outfield right now. When they have to go back on the ball, if an outfielder or if you are in the outfield and you see their eyes looking at you as opposed to trying to find the baseball, that lets you know a good bit right there.
Yeah.
They want no part if their eyes are down trying to find the outfielder as they're going back more than they are trying to find the ball, that lets you know they want no part of being out there. Not that comfortable doing it. Right? You watch somebody like Trey, I don't even think he looks for out. Like he is literally tracking the ball the whole time.
Right.
He's very comfortable at running and doing that and not basically knowing where you are spatially.
Which one's the harder transition?
Oh,
Obviously,
outfield to the infield.
Come on, yeah.
Yeah.
Outfield
No
to the
doubt.
I just wanted to get to your story.
No doubt.
Outfield to the
No
infield,
doubt.
100%.
And playing,
Way more involved.
especially if you've never put your feet on the dirt.
Well, Aaron Judge is going through it right now.
Yeah, I mean they're adding that to him. You know what I mean, for sure. And I don't know. Maybe Aaron Judge has played first base before. I had never played first base before I tried to, and that was
Hard for me to believe he's never ever played first
Right.
base.
He's been too big not to play.
Oh
first.
god, yeah.
How quickly did you say yes to that? Were you like, yeah, absolutely?
I've been taking ground balls at like before, like in BP and all that stuff for a while. You know what I mean? And then
No, but when they brought it up, like, would you be? And you're
So,
like,
yeah.
absolutely, I
Hell
can do
yeah.
that. And then you're like, this.
And then the one thing I was like, well, I didn't realize I didn't practice on pickoffs. I didn't practice like
You're
real life
finding the bag.
situations. I was like, and it all happened in one inning.
Were y'all home or away?
Oh, we're away.
Is that
I was getting lessons from their first baseman at the end of the inning walking into our dugout.
I hope it was a midweek game. Like I hope it wasn't like a weekend. Like they show up, the beer crowd shows up.
I think it was actually. I think it was the middle of the week.
Good.
Yeah, it
A
wasn't
little dead in the minors in the middle of the week.
You're the best player on our team?
Oh man, that's crazy.
I almost hurt 2 of them.
That's wild.
Sorry.
Sorry.
I don't usually do this often, man.
I don't know where I am. It's hard to find the bag if you haven't, you're running, looking, people are firing that thing across.
Instead of just
diving.
looking down, I just didn't look down. It was tough.
Also from YouTube. Did I send it? Oh, yes, I did. Here it is. Danny Kraft, AskM&M. How were you feeling about the new NCAA rules for batter's clock, pitcher's clock, and mound visits?
I don't love it. I'm just going to be honest.
Either.
I don't love it. I understand what you're trying to do, but I do think there needs to be a little bit of leeway, if you will. Kind of like a little grace period, if you will.
It's hard. Here's my thing, man. It's like baseball is hard enough. It's a big mental game, right? And when a pitcher is getting in this rhythm and this routine and they speed you up, like there's strategy to like calming yourself down. You don't have the opportunity to do that anymore.
So, yeah, and I would put it, it's something similar to this. Imagine if, because the art and the technique and ability to hit is a lot of a skill, right? Like it's not necessarily just the best athlete can jump in the box and do it. It's a skill. It's a learned skill, right? So imagine if there was a pitch clock on, I don't know, a golfer every shot.
Well, they do that. Well, not every shot, but there's times in golf wherever you can get put on the clock.
Yeah, but like that's
Lloyd,
an outrageous long amount of time.
But Lloyd, the clock's not 20 seconds.
No.
And that's my point. Like that's why I said there should be some grace period if this is what you're going for. Because asking someone who just took a 2-2 pitch, jumped at it, and it was a check swing that didn't get called in a big situation, crowd's going crazy. You're trying to bring yourself back down to compose yourself for the next pitch.
I'm trying to think.
I'm gonna be honest, not even just like that doesn't happen really in 20 seconds.
Also, how many nonverbal, like how much is the nonverbal communication? How important is that in baseball? A lot, right? Like you have your third base coach giving signals to the guy on first, giving signals to the guy at second, giving signals to the hitter. Like,
yeah.
So where does that go?
Yeah.
You don't have time. Like you're telling him he's gonna have to go through it. Like, okay, I'm walking to the plate. Well, what happens if the guy just walked and he's not sprinting to first base and you're walking to the plate? Now not everybody's watching the signs. It's like, well,
and I do think there's a side of it too that's like superseding really old rules, that not unwritten rules, like rules that are literally in the book. So if I'm sitting there and umpire's behind the thing, he says play ball, catcher's there, hitter's there, pitcher hasn't started his thing yet, and he's called, the hitter here has called time 5 times, and the umpire knows it, but because the clock is where it is, he's like, I'm not going to give you time. Well, which rule are we? They're both in the book now.
Right.
So are we not going to use the other one? Because I called it before he started, and it's very obvious.
Like the guy from Tennessee.
Exactly, like the guy from Tennessee. Like we can't. Running into situations like that, and imagine him getting rung up right there on the pitch. How bad would that look in a game?
That's where I think the bigger issue is whenever it gets into big-time games, whenever you're in SEC play.
Well, not even big-time, just big-time situations.
I would hope that.
But like in Omaha, if you're like, call somebody out on something where you have second and third 2 outs, and you
and I would hope that if that situation comes, that the umpire has enough feel to
you would
say,
hope,
hey,
but
listen,
we don't know.
And you don't.
You don't know.
You don't.
There's going to be...
And you're putting the umpire in a very, very, very tough spot.
Because there's going to be... You all know this, and since you both aren't playing anymore, there's probably some umpires that you know that you're like, it's the Angel Hernandez show, or it's Cowboy Jim West's time to shine. And he's be like, hell yeah, I'm looking at the clock. Game, roll it back.
And not even just the clock, too. I mean, like, there's the cases of said hitter may show him up on a borderline call he had bat before, and now he doesn't get a time for that. And it's just, those things can't be,
it's such an interpersonal game.
Because of a clock. That's just not, I'm not a big fan of it.
And can they step off? Does that reset the clock, or do you have to pitch?
So I did see this week, and
that used to be the case of Marlon.
Timeout. I'm pretty sure.
That was my move. I get in the box and I call time.
Well, here's the thing. I'm pretty sure I saw that happen Tuesday, and I obviously, like, there's no microphone. They don't have to announce it to the crowd, so you don't know. But what I think happened in that game against Southern is the clock got low and the pitcher wasn't ready yet. So what he did was he stepped off. There was runners on. He stepped off and he just threw it to the shortstop.
Yep.
And they didn't give it to him. They didn't award him of it, and they still called the ball on him. And then that was when I'm like, I mean, that's Bush. Yeah. So he found a way around it, and then now you're not going to give it to him because now that's up for judgment call.
Right.
That's crazy to me that's where it's at.
Too much control.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what leads me to this question. That this is my AskM&M. Could you start timing up stealing bags if he's not allowed to pick off?
Yeah.
If you see the clock running down to like 3, 2, like I'm going.
And I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere where the major leagues is adapting and using the pitcher can only pick over like twice.
Right.
And then now he has to pitch. I'm
like
like, that's
3 times
just.
or something, yeah.
I'm like, come on, man.
There's nothing because then I'm
gone.
taking the biggest lead of all
gone.
time.
As soon as you
start walking,
soon as you breathe deep, I'm going. You
Yeah.
can't pick over.
Yeah.
So like just stuff like that. That's you're really.
pretty. I mean, that
Not a
would make
big
the
fan.
game a little bit more fun. At least add some
guess.
action.
Yeah, I guess.
All right.
Last one.
From Twitter. No, we got a couple more. From
Until
YouTube,
somebody has
which is
120
awesome.
bags this year.
Appreciate everybody in there.
What's that?
So until someone has 120
Right.
bags, and you're like, whoa, that's a rookie record. You think?
From Robbie Plaisant at Rob Plaisant on Twitter. Does Thatcher Hurd get the start at Texas, or does Christian Little get a shot?
I think it depends on the weekend, but I think if I had to go with my gut, I think Thatcher Hurd does get to start at Texas. I think he's. It's too early. It's one game. It's one start. I think he gets an opportunity to go, and depending on what happens on this weekend, it'll depend on how long the leash is on Thatcher.
I would sit right in the same boat. I think he's starting again. Christian has thrown very well in his times out so far this year, so that is going to continue to be a thing if he continues to throw that way as to how he's being used. But I do think Tuesday come, it'll be Thatcher again on the mound.
All right. Fonz Ferrelli. What a guy. AskM&M. Was there a pitcher that you just couldn't pick up on the rotation, like somebody that I guess you faced where you were like,
We all
this
got
guy
that
has
guy,
my
right?
numbie.
Kluber owned me.
Oh, man.
Kluber owned me, and then Peter Moylan got my ass every time.
I'll say this is because I can remember it being the first. I don't even remember his name either. Being the first time I ever felt that situation. There was a lefty from Tennessee my freshman year in college. Big curveball. I think his last name was Atkins or something like that.
I was going to say Morgado.
No, not Morgado. I think his name was Atkins. Big curveball. He was their Friday night guy. His curveball was so good, and I could not pick up the spin on it. And I was like, dude, if he throws this 100 out of 100 times, I won't take the bat off my shoulders. I legit can't see it coming out of his hand.
You know what actually was another good pitch? And I actually didn't mind facing him. Like, I didn't mind facing Chris Sale. But when his slider was on, I can't imagine what it would be like a lefty facing him.
No.
But
you saw it when he was on that one day.
Yeah.
in Durham.
Stupid. Like, when his slider's on, it looks like you just give up on it because you don't think there's any way this ball comes back over the plate, and it always just comes back over, and you're like, God damn it.
As a lefty, literally, it's
behind you.
It's like trying to have a bat and looking into the dugout.
And you're like, how does this ball not hit me?
That's where he's releasing at. You're
Yeah.
like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Another one from Fonz. Oh, no, we'll skip one from him. I'll come back to it. Don't you worry. Sanaholic. AskM&M. So with Cruz being the favorite to be the number one pick in the draft. Hold on, it's longer than I thought. So with Cruz being the number one favorite to be the number one pick in the draft, what two freshman pitcher and position player could you see being the number one draft pick in 2026?
Number one overall?
Overall.
In 2026, which is a tough.
I don't know.
That's 3 years from now.
I'm about to say 3 years ago, we knew Dylan was going to be good. I don't think we
thought he was going to be one overall.
And he continued to prove that he was that. So I guess I would still, if I'm going to have to answer that question, I would steal the Paxton Kling situation. Like I legitimately think Paxton Kling is going to leave here with a unbelievable career here.
No doubt. And I think Chase Shores could be one of those guys too, right? Because he's obviously got the electric stuff. I think he has the ability to, continue to get better.
Yeah.
But like, it's hard. We've only seen 3 games.
Saying 1-1 is that's
right.
tough. Yeah.
There's only one guy a year that goes 1-1. That's hard.
That's tough.
Who's our kid that just committed to LSU that's in 8th grade?
Griffin.
Jordan Harris.
Jordan
Griffin. Jordan Griffin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Little Griffey.
The kid is a phenom.
The kid's special. He is special.
All right, here's another one. We're out of Twitter questions, but we still have them rolling in on. If you want to keep going.
Yeah, a couple more though. We do this all night.
It's 8 o'clock. My goodness. All right, last one. From Sims LeBlanc, AskM&M. One player to take from the 2023 team to make the 2009 team better.
Better?
Football or, I guess, baseball. That makes sense.
Just one player to take from that team.
I had Paul Skenes.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah. That would have been.
That means you have 3 number 1 pitchers.
Yeah,
what else? Like, obviously you want to say Dylan Cruz, but we had a really good outfield. You know, I mean, it's not saying that we were better than Dylan Cruz.
I'm just gonna try to fit it on that team. I'm gonna take.
He ain't taking your spot, and he ain't taking your spot.
I'm gonna fit it to fit it on that team.
He's better than me.
I'm only gonna say it like this. I would take Ty Floyd and turn him into the 8th inning guy, and then Bertasini ends up being the 7th inning guy who comes in even earlier to flip it until you die. Just to fit it on that team, right? Like that's because then you say, oh, okay, we take Skenes, but then like, well, where exactly are you putting Austin Ross?
Yeah, right.
Where exactly are you where? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like obviously they're gonna play, but like I don't know.
It's tough.
That's what I would do. So then we now have a legit 7th, 8th, 9th, and those 3 legit starters that we knew we had, and then there you go. So I'd take Ty Floyd.
All right, and this isn't a question. Just Josh Noel says Mikey's lucky that Verlander was on his team for half his career.
Yes, he is. Everyone is who played with him.
I actually would like. Verlander's the way he pitched back when I was playing, like before he went over to Houston. He actually pitched like I liked the way he pitched. Like I liked the fastballs up, and I liked the big breaker. Right, like it's nasty. I'm not saying I was gonna like dominate him, but
you knew what you were getting.
I knew like that was a guy that I felt like I could deal with. If you had a guy that could like get it up underneath my hands and had that now with his sliders a little different. Mm-hmm. But yeah, all right. Seggies.
I love this.
AskM&M
is.
Yeah, I like it too. I appreciate y'all for putting in all the questions.
Love it.
All right, let's run through these segments real quick. Mistake of the day brought to you by our friends down at Doe's Eat Place.
Who is USF playing? Does anybody know? Hunter Fredette said they just took the lead at the top of the 9th.
South Florida?
Mm-hmm. So they must be playing somebody.
Maybe Florida?
Maybe so.
It's a midweek game. I'd imagine Florida.
It's going to, and this is my...
It happens, dude.
That's what I was about to say. This is my take for people that are already crowning LSU baseball.
It's hard.
There's going to be one... They're not going to go undefeated. There's going to be one or two...
That'd be great. Actually, I don't want them to go undefeated. Because if you in the regular season 56-0, I mean, you're setting yourself up for failure. Right?
Unless you get 15 comeback wins after 7.
Yeah. I mean...
It'd be tough.
Yeah.
All right, my mistake of the day, and it seems like Ben Simmons is great at this. Finding himself in the news with, I don't see how he has any confidence left in a bone in his body, but Ben Simmons played where's Ben Simmons right now? Brooklyn. Bradley Beal is in Washington still, where he should probably have left and gone to the Lakers.
I don't know
and
what
gave
he's
himself
doing.
a chance
Like,
to
why
win.
would he get out of there, Bradley?
He loves it there.
Go win
I respect
somewhere.
that.
I respect it, but go win somewhere,
Yeah.
please.
He also shoved an official. No, nothing happened. But in the I guess this was it. Okay, in the playoffs, Bradley Beal intentionally fouled Bill Simmons. No, Bradley Beal intentionally fouls Ben Simmons, and they exchange some words on the court. Simmons says, "I'm tired of you motherfuckers fouling me on purpose, man. Like doing the hack a Shaq. I'm going to step up here and knock these two down. 5K says I will." And Bradley Beal says, "You want to make it 20K?" And Simmons said, "Bet," and missed both. I mean, he can't shoot from what? How long's a free throw? 16 feet?
15 feet, I think.
That's not really his bread and butter.
Tough.
Tough 40K down the drain.
Tough 40K. Or
20.
20. Oh, I thought it was 20 a shot.
No, I think it was just he said he's going to make both. And he's like, I bet you miss one. So Ben Simmons still out there, just try fake it till you make it. I don't know what happened. Him and Markelle Fultz are probably two of the more surprising stories of.
Where is Markelle? Is he still in the league?
I think he's with the Magic.
He is.
Okay.
I think he's actually turned into a decent player.
Good.
You just don't hear about him because he's
the Magic.
Basketball purgatory.
Yeah. Bronny's projected to go 10th overall apparently in 2024.
No, they
draft.
just said he's a top 10 overall prospect, so he could go anywhere from 1 to 10.
All right.
He's going to be a lottery pick.
Yeah.
And then LeBron
100%.
said if he gets traded to the Magic,
it's over.
Well, that's what he said 3 years ago.
Uh-huh.
So guess what that means?
Magic, you
he ain't going to the
Bronny.
Magic. He ain't going to the Magic.
Because there's probably a world where LeBron, if he's on that, like the back end of his shit, I thought he was already on the back
Can't you
end of his
imagine him
career.
going back to Miami or something?
It's gonna be in a.
It's not gonna be Miami. It's not gonna be.
It's gonna be in a very good market. I just see it that way.
All right.
So that was my Dozy place mistake of the day because Ben Simmons could have just lost 5K and he was like, no.
I had fake confidence in myself. I'm gonna lose 20K instead.
How hard is it to collect? On the, I mean, I'd imagine.
I'll never put a $20,000 bet.
No, but I would say like whenever y'all are like on the bus, like if you're the same team, like card games and stuff like that, you have
collect
to
before you get off the bus.
Yeah.
Or you gotta like we'll go to the bank together.
For the most part, you collect before you get off the bus, or you get a check written to you before you get off the bus.
Have you ever seen anybody give something like put, all right, I don't have the cash, but
I've heard stories.
Roll here.
I'm not gonna say any names.
No, I mean I've seen checks being written.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. For like you have like jewelry or something. Like, look, I don't have that much cash, but I'll put this in the pocket.
It's usually checks because of the having to pay clubbies situation. Usually, yeah.
And now you have Venmo.
So it's not just the jury off my body. It's usually that.
Yeah. All right. Last segment is Curtain Call is brought to you by our friends down at Assured Partners.
You beat me down on my socks. Keep thinking about life. Why you was up there doing God's
I mean, that
work.
boy's tapping.
4 trays. Go ahead.
Curtain Call is brought to you by our friends down at Assured Partners.
And who?
And me. And let's go. You want to start it off, Lloyd?
I can start it off. Let me copy it over. I don't know why Remix gives me some issues. If I put too many things in here, too many elements, it slows down the computer a little bit. So I'll try to keep it safe for the show. But former LSU guy that we all kind of wondered what
running
happened.
on 1-1. Hit and run was on. That's sliced into right. Hampton slides and makes the grab. His throw back to first is a strike.
But
he's an athlete. That's never been an issue.
Put that on the cash right there.
Do you think he has a chance? I mean,
it's gonna all. It's gonna
good
be
for him that
about-
he's found a home though, somewhere he
Yeah,
can
me
play
too.
and do his thing. Good for him.
But
God, I miss baseball.
That
was a good throw.
Very good throw.
Yep.
I mean,
that was a great play.
The spin.
Dog thinks so. Look at the dog. Ready.
It's a great play.
I just feel bad for him. What he turned down 1-7
Is that what it was?
out of high school.
Is that what it was? It's tough. It happens. Part of it. All right. What's yours?
I'm gonna go with. So we getting all these new shows. Things are coming out, and
Full Swing was
you
great.
know, Full Swing was great, and like
They were
NFL
throwing some
season
money
is-
around on that show too.
well, NFL season's over, and you think it's back to just the trade talks, and then boom, they hit you with an Omaha Productions NFL Films
Collaboration on Netflix.
of straight quarterback heat, basically, and you get to follow around the lifestyle of Pat Mahomes, Marcus Mariota, and who's the third? Kirk Cousins. 3 different lifestyles, 3 different type of people, all quarterbacks, and you kind of get to see them go through the season and stuff like that behind the scenes.
And I'm interested to see the Patrick Mahomes part of it. I want to see the family behind the family.
Oh, see what they
say the same thing.
Yeah, I
so
want to see what happens.
NFL is king, and they continue to show it kind of pretty much year after year.
No doubt.
If
all right.
Jackson Mahomes fucking shoehorns his way into this,
Oh, he's gonna be in it.
Are
dude.
you
know
crazy? You think he's not going to be in
He's
this
gonna
at
be
all?
in it, no doubt.
Come on. That's not even real.
now it's
Yeah.
not watchable.
That's not a real. You didn't just make that comment. You know he was going to be in there.
They live together.
No, they don't have to.
No shot.
I figured the house. I mean, you got a $500 million deal. You can
He
kind
ain't-
of entourage
he
that
ain't-
thing.
It doesn't matter.
Nah,
He doesn't want to.
I'd imagine Jackson's not in the entourage. He's in the family, but not
Yeah.
the entourage. All right, mine is. Jared Carabas posted this about. What did I say his name was? JC?
JC.
So I can't pronounce this guy's
Take a
name.
swing.
He doesn't want to butcher it. I respect it. Don't butcher it.
I mean, this is. I mean, it was to the point where I don't know if Jared Carabas typoed it. Like that's. I just don't even know how you would begin to pronounce the last name. So I'm gonna call him JC. JC is a. I was gonna make a joke. Say amphibious, ambidextrous pitcher. If you don't know what ambidextrous means, it means you can throw with your left and your right hand. Our friend Jared Mitchell is ambidextrous. He can throw with his left and his right hand. But this JC at Mississippi State goes from the left side, throws 93 miles an hour, and from the right side throws 96. So I've seen these pitchers before with an 83-mile breaker. I've seen an ambidextrous pitcher before in the big leagues.
They were doing this.
He wasn't throwing this hard. I mean, this guy is...
And it's 2 different deliveries, too.
Yeah, this guy's throwing absolute noise.
One's a little...
Doesn't matter how hard you throw, though. If you make... look, go back.
I'm going to let it replay. I saw his name, too. It's still CIJNT.
We'll see if it's... I don't think it was a C. I think it was a J.
I mean, that's two
Pause it.
very different deliveries.
Ready? Now. Yeah, CIJNTJE.
JC. Doing it.
Just Durangelo.
Durangelo, I can say that one. I just don't know how to pronounce his last name, and I don't want him.
Especially after Mikey's debacle with what right field does at LSU.
Oh, I didn't say the whole right field. I meant the corner of right field. But what is it called? What is that? What is it? What it used to be called? Right? What didn't they have a sign out there? Back in the day? No. Okay. I don't know.
Probably was established in the 50s.
No. Do y'all know exactly what I'm talking about?
It's the right field corner to me. I don't really know it as
Kuntz corner.
No, I don't. Maybe I was messed up. I don't know what it is. Something like that.
Right field corner.
Right field corner.
I had people call me because your reaction was so innocent. Like, did I mess up on the show?
I mean, it was something. I don't remember what it was, but I thought it was something along those lines.
They started as the right field corner. That's really all.
That's on me.
I don't know.
They had you out there too.
Yeah, I don't really know.
That's on me. Yeah, but that's my current call is that guy. So, good day today, boys. We'll be back again live in the studio 1 to 3. We're going to lead you into the first few innings of the game on Friday. I have paid for the Division I streaming, so we will be watching it and talking about it as it unfolds.
I probably could have found you a link.
That's okay. It was only $20.
It's a tax write-off, huh?
I mean, I could write off.
It's for work.
Uh-huh.
Who did they play first?
I was actually wondering if I could write off my LSU football tickets. I think I can. Could I talk about the games?
I talk about the games.
I mean, don't we all talk about the games?
That's what I'm saying. So could I do it as well?
Do you pay for your tickets?
Yeah, it's becoming very contentious in the Courtney family, yes.
Well,
it was all fun and games in 2004. It's not too much fun anymore. Man's trying to retire.
I'll talk to my CPA and see what happens.
That's
great
it.
Day today. Great show.
Smooth
segments. Enjoy the rest of the Wednesday. We will see you again on Friday, 1 to 3. Are you going to be here? Yeah. You are? Okay. So the whole squad will be here on Friday. Leading you into the game.
Here or there, I will be present, but I'll be here.
There we go. 1 to 3 p.m.
Fun fact, frogs are ambidextrous.
Oh, cool.
Thank you. Shout out to Dustin Blanchard in the chat.
Very
nice. Amphibians or ambidextrous?
He said ambidextrous, so it might. I guess they start off amphibious as tadpoles.
Bruh. I don't know. All right, we're gonna go home. On that note, appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you don't like watching us and you want to listen to us. We're anywhere you get your podcasts. We'll see you on Friday. Peace.
People said I'm fake. I'm not fake. I love my raps. Goodbye, everybody. Shout out EFCO.
Yeah, we didn't do any of that. We didn't give EFCO.
Still can. We're still on. Give them a shout out.
Shout out EFCO. Our friends down in Lafayette. What do you got?
EVCO,
EFCO Development. Right? Our friends down at EFCO, they are a civil construction company.
Based out of Lafayette.
Who to call?
Tyler the Day is your friend.
Pick one bar in Lafayette, all timer.
One bar?
Yeah. You a pub guy, keg guy, Nighttown?
Well, keg's no longer there.
He's a corner guy.
You went to Corner Bar?
That's right by my mom's house.
That is like affliction.com. That place was.
No, when Corner Bar was first opened.
It wasn't that. It was popping. He used to pop it.
I mean, look, Thanksgivings.
Oh no, that's the trap.
You get the day before Thanksgiving. You get people from all the way from Liberia.
Hey,
to
day before
Henderson.
Thanksgiving, that was the mousetrap right there.
What year is this?
That's what landmines.
I don't even know. That was before I'm at Alley.
2011. It was a lot of UFC.
That's everywhere in Lafayette.
Yeah, but this just seems like they claimed that spot.
I mean, it's everywhere in Lafayette.
All right.
Love y'all.
Shout out EFCO. Oh, we got to finish the read. EFCO.
I didn't know we were going to do the whole read, but okay.
Well, they deserve it. They paid for it.
I know. We gave one on Monday. We can give them another one on Friday.
I'll just run the commercial after this. That'll be it. Okay. Call Tyler.
No, what's the number? Read the number out.
318-229-5585. He'll come clean your house up after a hurricane personally. He loves that kind of
work.
work.
He doesn't clean the inside of the house.
Don't let him in your house. Wife won't be safe. Good looking man.
Whoa.
He's married, but I'm just saying.
Okay.
I would be nervous if I were somebody else and this man showed up. He doesn't look like he.
What are you doing right I don't know what he's doing.
It's a compliment.
God.
Good luck, Jackson Mahomes. I hope you're a star. And hell. All right.